Welcome back, everybody, to Phil's Recap and Review. This is The Walking Dead, Season 11, Episode 24. Everyone's crying in trailers for new series. I mean, rest in peace, I guess, Rosita, rest in peace, my expectations. This was an episode of The Walking Dead. This was the finale of The Walking Dead. And this isn't our first series finale. We've talked about a lot of series finales here on this channel. But this is, the Walking Dead finally ended. They built this one up. A lot of stuff was going to happen. People were going to cry. I didn't know when they said people were going to cry, they meant pretty much every character in the first half of this episode. It was just a lot of crying. There was a lot of crying in this episode, sadness and stuff like that. And then we lead into what I consider probably one of the one of the worst television moments I've ever seen in my entire life. Instead of, they did it again, Joe. They did it again. They did another dumpster-like moment. At least they had Rosita get bit, but why did they take away the dramatic good moment of her getting tackled by all those walkers in a sort of exciting, sacrificey kind of moment,
and having her baby and her get eaten?
Yeah, it would have been like horrible, but it would have been, I would have come
much better, much more realistic, much
Joe,
everything. Like she fell on her back, but she emerged on her belly.
Yeah, Joe. I would have, if that happened, I would have come out here and say, "Wow, The Walking Dead had some balls tonight. It really went for it." Rosita's not a main character, but it was kind of a dramatic scene for her to go out like that. But instead, they have her do like a video game move, like when you're in a big thing, like someone doing a DPS attack, and she just like did this huge DPS attack where.
Whose baby is it?
Is it Father Gabriel's baby?
Right, but might be the other guy's baby, or it was Gabriel's baby, but the other guy she was with, the other guy died.
I honestly forget. But
right, either way, it would have made so much better that she dies there, right, with the baby, eaten alive, in front of Father Gabriel, who at the very... So the very beginning of this episode, there's a lot of mirrored scenes, if I'm not mistaken, if not exact, but like pretty close to the first episode. Like,
yeah, with the
walker with the rock,
with Judith
Judith in the hospital,
with Judith somehow waking up in the hospital after she got shot like that, and just being okay for 5 seconds to close the door,
just long enough to talk to Shane. I mean, Daryl.
There was some
long enough for Daryl to push her back into the room. Just long enough for Shane to barricade Judith. I mean, for Daryl to barricade Judith back in the hospital.
But Joe,
right, so there's a lot of parallels. There's a lot of mirrors.
There was also some really shitty editing going on in this episode too. Shaky cam bullshit. A lot of shaky cam.
Shitty.
This was bad.
Why not recall that the Father Gabriel's fucking story, like we always talk about, is that he locked his entire fucking parish outside the fucking church to get eaten.
Yep.
Perfect. His baby and his baby's mama get eaten in front of him when he's trying finally to let someone into the house.
Dude,
trying to get them into the window. You know what I mean?
Dude,
like,
it was so
missed opportunity. Like, we are going for this like this is the origin, this is where these people came from, or different things like that, but you blow this fucking opportunity and then, like Phil says, just to find out she got bit later, and just to pad out the fucking runtime of the episode, because exactly, you couldn't have done anything else. You have all these massive hordes and all of our characters, all of our fucking characters, even our B team. Okay, I'm sorry. Standing around doing nothing.
What's his name got bit too? The guy we don't care about that came back last.
Yeah, and the woman that we don't care.
Yeah,
about.
the Ocean. Oceanside is finally dead. Yay.
They were the only two that fucking cared about each other in the whole fucking town, in the whole fucking
what was funny about that is they cut that scene so hilariously. This episode was unintentionally or intentionally fucking hilarious. It cut between scenes of like our B team, our Saved by the Bell, the new class, the Glee new class kind of group of kids crying over their dead friend, and with like getting ready to stab him, and then they cut back to like Carol and Daryl, like the two characters you care about, just not giving two shits about it, just being like, oh yeah, they're in the same room, yeah, what's going on? And then, like, there's just so much to talk about in this episode. Like, I know, Joe, the rage isn't quite there the way it used to. People have been asking where the Joe rants are. One, Joe doesn't drink on streams anymore. Two, The Walking Dead's just dead to him, essentially. But this episode almost brings it out of me because this was another wasted potential kind of episode. There were moments here that they had a chance to do something at least interesting with the whole with the setup of, with everyone getting overrun, but instead they protected all of our characters with plot armor, and then they did this like cheesy fast forward to the future world, which I know probably happens in the comics too, but it was done. They chose Daryl to give this weird speech that I assume was given to Rick, the "We Are the Walking Dead" speech. People that know the comics can correct me or explain this to me one way or another. By the way, we're not alone. We have with us the live motherfucker chat and Joe Dirty Locks and Joe Dirty Locks' amazing cat mustachio over here. But they just had so much wasted potential. Okay, the Judith thing just became another bullshit. She got shot, no big deal. She wakes up in the middle of her thing and pushes it away. She could have had some sort of fever dream, but instead they sort of ended everything in a happy...
Oh God, I'm glad there was no fucking fever dream. Oh my God, for a finale, a fever dream?
Dude, it would have been better than what we got because... Instead of that, instead of that,
you picked the one.
Dude, I know how you feel about fever dreams, but it would have at least been better than the fucking than the 5-minute trailer that we got at the end of the episode to cave back into Judith.
That wasn't part of the show.
No, that was part of the damn show, Joe. That was our Rick cameo. That was our...
I don't think so. That wasn't even... was that any new footage there?
Yes.
They filmed that shit before he fucking left.
Maybe, but...
yeah, they did. That was supposed to be like...
No.
The season he left, that was supposed to be like a trailer scene or some shit.
No, those are scenes from the future Rick Grimes series.
Those are scenes from when the episode that Michonne left?
No, that's actually new shit, Joe. And at the end, they had...
She looked ridiculous. She looked like she was wearing a Marvel outfit.
She was. They ripped her. They ripped her off Marvel set. They're like, you have a contract. Get the fuck off the movie set. We need you now to film this fucking trailer. But they gave you an extra scene of Judith talking to RJ, where we all have a chance. Remember, it was like those commercials where it was like, we are CW. We are the CW. With the fucking the Arrowverse. They did this commercial where about their crossover. The world. We are the Arrowverse. We are the this thing. We are the something. They basically did that at the end where they just cut to every single character saying one line, and it was so stupid. And then they just braked off to RJ and Judith, and I don't know. I'm gonna get in the chat in a second, and I put a poll up tonight. How would you rank the finale? A tier, a minute, a giant trailer for other shows, truly moving, shut up, Phil, or a shitload of F? We'll keep an eye on. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that tonight and see where it goes. Excuse me. But let's get into and then we had I just saw CG in the live chat for a second. The fire, the explosion thing that we had, which could have been a really cool looking practical explosion if they did it. But if
almost was.
Exactly, Joe. Halfway decent explosion, halfway looked like a bad video game cutscene. It looked like
like it wasn't rendering fast enough.
No,
machine.
Like it was
Wi-Fi.
Dude, like it was an N64 Conker's Bad Fur Day fire effect or something. It was really bad. They didn't look like they quite had the budget for the fire that they were trying to pull off.
It did not.
It was, dude.
It was fucking awful, dude. It really did. It looked like they were probably like, no. If we make it just like this, just pixelated enough, people will think their Wi-Fi kicked out for like a half a second. That they lagged online. They'll think it's their fault. Not ours.
Like it's an Andy Kaufman joke or something. And what the flying fuck burger was with all the shaky cam stuff tonight? They don't.
Because they suck.
But that's not something that they usually suck at. I mean, they usually don't do shaky cams that much. Usually I can come out here, Joe, and argue with you like, oh, the cinematography of this episode
about some of the technical aspects. We've been doing that for years.
Yeah, the technical aspects of this episode
all slowed
sucked.
down and disappeared in the last two seasons,
especially
seasons.
Tonight.
Even that part has been trailing off.
Oh my god. Okay, Joe, let's get into the live chat. Maybe we're completely
the music tonight sucked too.
Dude, the music was
tear jerk music.
It was boring as dog shit. It was
right down to the cameo uh, color fucking me bad song or whatever it was.
Oh, and yeah, thank you for mentioning the cult of personality.
Cult of personality.
Yeah, in living color, and then
living color,
and then landslides. Like they paid for 2 songs, and they paid for which I love both songs, but they were so random.
Yeah, right.
But they were so random, and again, this is not
right? Wicked random. Like why?
Yeah,
it didn't even go with.
Especially landslide. I mean, cult of personality, they wanted to put on a rock song to distract people, but it was just random that it happened to be a record. And they made it seem like it was like a 70s band. That's like an 80s rock band in living color. If correct me if I'm wrong, music snobs. I believe that was in living color, cult of personality.
It was.
And like the way the record that they made it seem like give me a break. And people that wanted that band was also in Back to the Beach with Annette Funicello. But then landslide. And again, people are like, that's a beautiful song, Phil. It is a beautiful song, but they so rarely use licensed material music on The Walking Dead.
And to me, that's what they used.
And it stunk. It stunk.
They blew their budget on those. They couldn't do the fire.
Joe, I think you're onto something. Joe, as usual, Joe is always right. So let's get into the live chat. Thank you guys for joining us tonight for this final episode of The Walking Dead, or anyone that's joining us. I'm noticing that more people are watching this after the fact than checking us out live. So we do thank everyone for all your years of support, checking us out, talking about The Walking Dead. Joe and I aren't going anywhere. We're going to be talking about The Last of Us starting in January. So please stick around. And I'll also be popping up with some other shows here and there, trying to drag Joe along when I find something that he doesn't detest, and we'll talk about it.
The Last of Us.
But yeah, The Last of Us will be the next show that Joe and I are talking about. But we might do a few end of the year kind of stuff, and I might try to drag his butt over here to do a live watch of something. Okay, so here we go. Hardly worth the companion speech. We're The Walking Dead. Atari Dead. Rosita is what should have happened to Glenn, says Joe. Henrietta, what the fuck? They gave Andrea's death for the comics to Rosita. Fuck this show. Fuck this show. CW tier ending, says, and I agree with that. There was definitely a CW element to it all. Bearded Rick. But the question is, did they film that Rick stuff new? Is it stuff from the Rick Grimes series, or is Joe right and they just...
That was old footage they didn't end up putting into the shows because they were like, we'll just save it so we don't have to fly Andrew in all the way from overseas to film one or fly a crew out to him to film one fucking scene of him fucking caveman yelling on a beach or some shit.
I think it's new footage from the Rick Grimes series, so they gave us a trailer.
Yeah, basically, it was just all bad. The Michonne clips were especially bad.
You could tell that they just got her off Marvel's set, as you said. Shit Buddy, how's it going? Yeah, the Shit Buddy song was up on the as our trailer. I feel like this is part of the twisting the knife because now they're reminded on how this could have been a better, but there's with those still around. Was it worse seeing Rick and Michonne together? Was there any level of quality to your vision?
We didn't see them together. We just saw them back and forth.
It's true. Did you feel like a quality difference when Rick came back on the screen for a second? No. For a moment.
No, I'm telling you, it looked like maybe Rick's scene wasn't a bad scene. Like if that was all I saw. Like, but all the Michonne footage really just visually looked poor. Like they looked like they put her in a Marvel suit, and then they put out like a weird like lacrosse or football helmet.
The football. These are hockey pads. I feel like they just kept her in her Marvel costume, probably. And Henrietta says this series should have ended after season 5. Timothy agreed. Could have at least gotten something like the comic ending. Timothy is agreeing that it should have ended at season 5 when it was at its peak. Atari Dad says, I call it disappointing more than anything. We got the Madman Marts in the live chat right now.
Hey.
Timothy says, hardest pill to swallow was the fact that they killed the Balls of Fury guy. I guess if you cared about that guy, it was the most horrifying death of the episode. It was the only thing. It was what I wanted to happen to more of the characters. It
wasn't even horrifying. Like, you didn't feel bad that he died. Maybe you felt bad that the 4 people around him were all crying. But then, what do we really care about the 4 people around him either?
Yeah.
Like, they were pretty minor characters.
And that's my point, Joe. I think the only way to kind of
Like they were they were minor characters that they tried to make major, but they never got there.
That's why I always call them like the season 4 Glee kids. Like when they introduced a new cast to be like these kids are going to be the new stars of the show, and it never just takes. So I feel like
everybody's just rooting for him to die.
Yeah, and that's what honestly, like the Sand Snake type thing. Like what I feel like what I would have presented to the writers in this situation is in this big horde scene, instead of just Balls of Fury guy and the last remaining survivor of Oceanside being killed in the horde, you just wipe out everybody but Ezekiel. That little main group. You want to keep that little main group together again. Still keep the main group, but kill everyone else.
Everybody, kill the whole fucking town,
except
right?
for Daryl, Carol. Yeah, Joe. No, go. What?
It looked awful. Like open the gate, and then here comes the horde, and literally like there's 3 feet behind them. Dude. 3 feet behind the last person is the wall of zombies.
Joe, that was
just made it.
Joe, that was so comically. It was comically bad the way they were cutting back and forth between the faces of Pamela, like being like, "Oh my god,"
and Hornsby right there, right? Hornsby,
or Horny was
up front, right in the center.
Or her, yeah. Horny's dead.
No, the guy, he was the zombie that she was.
Oh, that was Zombie Hornsby. Okay, I thought it was her son. I thought it was
Zombie,
that
her
was
son. The fuckhead that Carol.
Yeah, okay, it's Hornsby. I missed. Thank you for picking that up, Joe.
Like, yeah, he happens to be the one that makes it as front and center out of the whole horde. All the zombies that died, all the zombies that made it there, he's front and center at the gate.
But these are evolved zombies, Joe. They evolved in the last 5 minutes of the series, so they can. And I love how they deal with that. They're like, these zombies are evolving. We have to up our game. And then suddenly they cut to this weird, awkward editing process where again they fucked up the process to our buddy in the live chat. They did this voiceover where they were telling us what was happening, but instead they were showing us something completely different that had nothing to do with what was going on with the voiceover. And I think they thought it was going, and that's right before they kicked into Cult of Personality. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now? I would say the second half of the episode up until the trailer was a little better than the first half. The first half was just cry central for me. The whole
thing was stupid.
The whole thing was stupid.
Okay, so I
let's pick corn out of this turd, Joe. We're hungry.
I'm gonna pick a little corn kernel out and give it a nibble here. I'll say this: I did I called attention to the paralleling of some of the scenes earlier. I didn't recognize too much of that at the end of the second half. I recognized those kind of things in the first half of the episode, which I also fell asleep in and had to rewind and catch back up to the.
I'm sorry.
To get here on time.
I'm sorry.
But started right where I passed out at. It was like a start of a commercial, and so it wasn't too hard to find my spot. But I got to tell you, I was a little bit more impressed with the writers trying to give you right back where we started from.
Yeah. Okay.
Almost,
again,
which didn't pan out,
Joe. And to my point of what you said, you would have been horrified by. That's why I'm presenting that the best case, worst case scenario for finale in the setup that they had leading into us was some sort of Judith dream where she imagines herself in a similar exact situation as Rick in the premiere episode, and it's cut between them taking over the town while she's being treated by a doctor, but we see like every parallel from that first episode, her walking out on an empty city, like some shit like that. They kind of leaned into it a little bit.
Oh, fuck the fever dream. Why a dream?
Because you can't do it in reality. It's the
final episode. We're gonna spend time on a dream.
Okay, so we're gonna spend time on a fucking trip. We're gonna spend time on watching every character cry for 5 fucking minutes.
Yeah, that was stupid too. Like, don't replace stupid.
How the fuck
stupid.
would you? How the
come up with better than fever dream and cry?
Okay, then come on, tell me how the fuck would you end this fucking pile of shit at this point in time? What would you?
I don't know. We had many ways to do it.
Kill everybody.
They were listening to us so often throughout this show and what we've talked about in the right that they could have at least taken one of our fucking
No, not at the end, though. At the end, they wanted to end it their own way. Okay, let's zip through some.
And they ended it their own way.
They ended it their own way.
Certainly fucking
Is this okay? We've talked about a few series finales. You weren't. We'll talk about this at the end, but I want to put this out here as we're going. You missed out on the Better Call Saul finale, which actually was a good one.
I still haven't even finished it.
You know, but when you come down to it, I mean, people mixed results, but most people think it was pretty good. We talked about I believe we talked about Sons of Anarchy finale. We talked about the 24 finale. We talked about
24.
24. We talked about 12. Sorry, we talked about Game of Thrones. I talked about Breaking Bad. We talked about Vikings at the end too, I believe.
I might have ditched out.
You might have ditched out a little bit, but we at least
called it an end like the season after. I called it an end season after.
But
Ragnarok.
where does and you don't have to answer this now, Joe. But for series finales, good or bad, I know this is probably on your bad list, but where does this rank as a series finale, like compared to some other big series in the way they ended? And to me, I kind of already have my answer, but I'm going to put that out there.
This was trash. This was straight fan service trash. It literally was. It was like, well, people expect someone to die, and since we pretty much wrote off Ping Pong Man, then. And nobody remembers who this other chick is, and certainly nobody will remember who you are. So we're just going to make you two the two that die until eventually we all get to say goodbye to Rosita. We're not going to draw it out quite as long as we did Carl, but
pretty fucking good. And I wonder if they just like rolled a dice and decided it was Rosita. Let's get into some of these chats. So thank you everyone.
Okay. Oh, that was another mirrored kind of scene.
Carol cutting her hair.
No, instead of a tank, it was an ambulance. Instead of Rick, it was Rosita.
Yep.
Instead of a ladder, it was the pipe.
Yeah. Oh, good pickups. Good pickups, Joe. Adding some meaning, giving it more thought than the writers. Henrietta says, gives it a 1 out of 10. Tired Dead, see, I kind of like that guy, but he got sidelined for much. Me too. He was all right, but we didn't get to know him enough, which is the entire problem of most of the new characters. We just didn't get to know them enough to care about them. Mark says, this was horrible. Timothy says, Daryl, I must get up to fight the Walking Dead. Carol, no, Daryl, you are the Walking Dead. The real Rick, haven't seen the show since around when Negan got his throat cut, so this should be interesting. Hey, great to see Chalkboy, Tired Dead. Only parts I liked were the explosions in Fleetwood Mac. Did The Walking Dead degrade in quality the way Game of Thrones did? Worse. The Walking Dead
far worse.
Died a slower death instead of jumping off a cliff. It would have been more believable ending if it had Shane resurrected with a chain gun.
Well, no, it died a quick death when Glenn climbed under the dumpster. But then it just rambled on like a zombie for another 5 seasons.
Great way of putting it, Joe. It would have been more believable if Shane had resurrected with a chain gun armor and infinite ammo gunning down hordes. I would have liked that. Where did you get my copy of my fanfic? Hey, we got Iron Throne. They fucked up the process. If Eugene died, I'll give it an A. No, Eugene lived, and we got a lot of Eugene. Negan, Maggie, and Carol to spin. If we got Steph Snow in the live chat. Hey, Phil. Didn't watch, but I'm here to get the scoop in the finale. Still Daylight Joe. You look like you're in Hawaii. Joe looks like he's in Hawaii. Oh, yeah, it does look sunny. It looks like it's still sunny in where you're at. Here we go. What happened to Negan? Negan disappeared halfway through in a decent enough scene with Maggie, and then came back over for a voiceover with Judith in a letter she wrote him for some reason. It was kind of really weird. She wrote him a letter. Yeah, and as Joe said, it's like poetry. It rhymes. Tracy G says this finale was so trash. Tired Dad sending some love to Joe from last week. I haven't felt as bad since Olivia died. Joe's like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Joe's like a bad parent, like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Tony Pajamas, horrible episode. The Walking Dead sucks. Santovia Major, one of our channel members with a little lotus next to her face. I love that. Thank you to all of our channel members that support me month to month. We do appreciate it more than you know. And hey, everyone, Miss Joe, Santovia Major, giving you some love. Thisby says, Rick said we are the Walking Dead, and Daryl says, no, we ain't. Will Daryl go to France? I think so. I guess that seems like he's on a bike.
Yeah, he's gonna bike there.
Yeah. I think you can take a motorcycle. Daryl can take a motorcycle to France, dude. You know, he can't do it. Thank you so much. We get the.
I don't know. So like, what do you mean? So there's a couple comments here that I wanted to read.
No, jump. If you see a comment you wanna get a jump at it, because I'm just trying to play catch up.
Something about there's worse finales. Yes, there are many worse finales, but not that this wasn't trash, but wasn't as good as it could be. Yes, it was nowhere near as good as it could be, thus making it trash.
What would you say going into this is your least favorite series finale? What show were you so into? I mean, Game of Thrones is an obvious answer. For me, it's How I Met Your Mother. I think the finale.
Oh, God.
That show is probably the show that I was
the worst series. It ruined the whole
ruined the whole series. Ruined the whole fucking series.
The whole series. I can't watch any repeat. I can't watch an episode I've seen before.
I'll still go back and watch Game of Thrones. I'll still go back and watch Dexter. I'll still go back and watch Lost sometimes. I will not.
Dexter sucked too. Oh.
Yeah, it's both of them. I don't know if you watch New Blood.
I did not. I couldn't. I didn't want to. And then someone was like, "Dude, no." And
New Blood is great up until the last 2 episodes, and then they bring it all back. They give you that old Dexter feels. And there's so many other shows. People tell us in the live chat tonight. I'll catch up to it eventually.
There's a lot of bad ones. There's a lot of divisive ones too, like
like The Sopranos or Sopranos. I think it's hard to find universally loved finales. I think one of the few universally loved finales is like something like 6 Feet Under. Anyone that watched that series is like, oh, that series ended great. Some people really like the Sons of Anarchy finale. I don't really love that either. I think it's kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
Sopranos one is very divisive. I guess Breaking Bad usually gets some positivity, but even some people say
really good.
It's kind of cheesy that he set up the gun. But I don't care. The show is always kind of pulpy and MacGyver-y, so I feel like having him do one last little MacGyver trick to make it all happen works for the show in which they were doing. So I think if you're not Vince Gilligan, it's hard to end a drama good. It's more the norm for a series finale to disappoint rather than satisfy, but on the level of disappointment scale, this is high. But
not as high. I agree with Atari. It's not as high as Game of Thrones disappointment level. It's not like that. And I'll tell you why, because this has been burning. This has been a fucking dumpster fire for how many years?
That's what I mean. This is bled out. This was a puncture wound that leaked out. This wasn't a head chop. And for a lot of people, even though I would argue with Game of Thrones, the quality started to dip a little bit after season 5 and progressively go down. For a lot of people, it was more of a head chop that they were into it until that finale, being like, something's going to happen. The head chop comes off and they're like, this shit sucks. The Walking Dead, it was a puncture wound that slowly dripped out, and people are like, that's still dying. It's still dying. It's still on. That's why no one cared except for the hardcore Walking Dead fans and masochists like us that are coming out here to talk about this. The people that do.
There's a lot of people that are going to tune in tonight just because they watched a lot of it in the past.
That's why they did the thing at the end, the whole trailer thing at the end with all the old characters popping up.
Yeah, like exactly. And it's going to get some ratings. They might be numbers from like season 4 numbers or some shit like that. But
it's funny you say that, Joe. I've been looking at the numbers. They've been getting around 1.5 million views. That's not counting streaming numbers, but the general numbers are about 1.5 million. I wonder if this episode will be more. We'll check back in on that later. I'm curious.
Yeah, I am too.
So let's go and thank you for killing the porn bots. Everybody knows where it's happening. Nippy, Rick's appearance wasn't a big payoff. The explosion was goofy, but I kind of liked it because it was so goofy. I hear you, Atari Dad. It was over the top goofy, but I think it was goofy for me for the wrong reasons. They should have leaned into the schlock of it a little bit more, and they didn't. Legends never die, Joe, says Turk. The writers are literally 4-year-olds. Pamela Milton was the weakest villain in The Walking Dead.
Yes. Oh. fucking horrible.
She was, for an endgame villain, she was kind of trash. She was not even kind of trash. She was probably the trashiest of the villains. Speaking of which, on the Walking Dead pre-show, they did the top 5 Walking Dead villains of all time. Hi, this is Chris Harddick. I'm here to talk about the Walking Dead.
Yeah, I saw that. Was that I heard that. Was it an actual poll that was going on?
Yeah. Number 5 is Beta. Number 4 is the cannabis. No, Beta is Opie. The number 4 is the cannibal terminuses.
Oh, right.
Number 3 is Alpha. Number 2.
What? What? I had to turn. So I gave Katie we saw Terry Crews's face, and we were like, we're giving it a shot. So we watched Terry Crews's Walking Dead episode there of webisode, whatever it is. Then we watched like the one right afterwards, and we enjoyed both of those because of the people that were in it. They were separate. They didn't have anything to do with the characters. They were just done well enough, right? They standalone things. I don't know what my point was.
But
wow.
But we'll try. Let's see if you can get it. You can get it back.
What were you just talking about?
We were talking about. There's probably an alpha webisode that you saw.
Right.
That
So
sucked.
yeah. That's what the point was. I had to turn it off when the alpha.
You're welcome, Garth. You're welcome, Garth.
I was like, no. Katie was even like, no, turn it off.
You're welcome. Oh, and I forgot to mention, we do already have one. We have a couple calls from last week, too, that we're going to play. If you want to call on in, share your thoughts, 781-990-8509. If I miss your chat and you want to text it in, if I missed you, so you can do that.
Oh, the Groundhog Day episode was fucking hilarious.
Centivia Major says Alpha, stop it. Yep, Alpha number 3. Number 2 on that list for top villains in the Walking Dead history is the governor. And number 1... Negan in the Saviors.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw them say Negan was number 1. The governor, then Negan, and I can't say.
For me,
what's your list?
For me, Cannibal Terminus number 1, probably. Shane number 2. I feel like Shane should have been on this list for villains. Like, I feel like I know he was somewhat of a good
call. He became villainous. He shot Otis.
Yep, and
right?
Yeah, he just, like, even though Otis was holding him back. Otis was holding him back, dude. I would have, everyone
left Rick to die, never went back to check
exactly. On Rick. He abandoned his baby with Judith. And then probably the governor. I would put the governor then maybe Opie's Beta. I wouldn't have Alpha on the list, and I wouldn't have I'd have Milton way down the list. Oh, Mayor Joe Hale. I thought Mayor Joe Hale was pretty fucking good in his.
Yeah, so mine
the Claimers. If people don't know what I'm talking about, the Claimers. We claim this.
Mine would go the Claim Gang. Right. Then would come the Cannibals. Then would come the Cop Gang. Then the Governor. And all the rest are just weak.
It's more like rinse and repeat. Someone says it's try hard. Sonic says, I love the finale. I can't wait for next season. Next says, I think they handled Luke's death amazing. Such a minor character, but done well in emotional death. I feel like
who's Luke?
That's Joe's point, and I don't know if he's trying to be.
Luke?
Luke is the dude that died. The
ping pong guy,
Balls of Fury guy. I agree with you. I agree with you, and follow me here, Joe, before you interrupt me and tell me I'm stupid.
Yep.
I feel like the death itself. I agree with what Nexus is saying. It was the best handled death in the episode because it was random. It got bit and then dragged off. It just happened. There wasn't some stupid.
No, they cut his leg off.
But he still died.
Yeah, I know, because they cut his fucking leg off.
No, he got bit. That's why he died.
they cut his fucking leg off.
They didn't get to it in time. It was the disease,
and then cut his fucking leg off.
And then his friend fucking got destroyed too. It was.
What are they gonna do when they sew it up? They're just gonna leave him, let him bleed out.
It's just a flesh wound.
What did they cut his fucking leg off with?
Joe, it's
how'd
a
they get
flesh
through that
wound.
fucking femur? They just start hacking at it.
Because
it takes a lot to cut a fucking leg off. Let me tell you.
Oh,
they cut his fucking leg off.
Walter.
How the fuck did they cut his fucking leg off, dude? Of course he was gonna fucking die. So instead of just fucking killing him or letting him go out like what's her name did, dude, if we cut your leg off right now in the middle of a fucking war, you're gonna bleed out in horrific fucking pain, probably in shock. The fact that you're still looking at anybody is pretty amazing right now that you're awake. Because we just cut your fucking leg off. Yeah, no. They cut his fucking leg off. And he's sitting there going, oh, yeah, nice, thanks. Play the harmonica. Don't ever let my music fucking die. Come on.
Please.
They just cut his fucking leg off.
Please play Landslides at my funeral. Please play. Okay, so anyways.
Don't worry, little girl. I know we just cut your fucking arm off. But, we won't have to hop you up on enough fucking painkillers to put you to sleep for 6 days.
Come on, there's enough milk.
You'll be fine.
There's enough milk in the poppy for the world.
You might feel it every now and then. I know, but I'm never gonna see. I don't care about my arm. I'm never gonna see what's his name again. The other guy, another guy whose name nobody fucking knows.
You talking? Don't tell me you're talking about Aaron. Nonfiction.
No, she was talking to Aaron. Didn't Aaron die like?
No, Aaron still. Shut up! Shut up! Nonfiction says such a letdown. They didn't kill Pamela. I did think it was kind of a letdown, but
that's stupid. Knife to the back of the head.
Yeah, Pamela should have just been shot. They had her in her sights.
Yeah, they should have just walked up behind her. Daryl should have just been like, "Fuck this," and finally, like, come on now.
I'm gonna talk about this in the recap too, but at the end of the episode when Daryl like rides off on his motorcycle, he rides dangerously close to a walker, and the episode would have saved itself for me if he had just like hit the walker with a bat or something walking by, because they're playing all this like sentimental music, and they just needed to like fuck with the mood a little bit. The Walking Dead. The problem with The Walking Dead is, and I mentioned this way early on, is that it started to sniff its own farts. It wanted to be mentioned in the same category as Mad Men and Breaking Bad on the AMC network as like
it was at first.
But for ratings purposes, and not because they were telling these deep, dramatic soap opera like stories. And then they started to believe their own press a little bit and perpetuate it, and it became a mockery of itself. Rick is back. Hey, Joe, how's it going on? Turk's giving you some love. Rick escaped. Hey. The final was so ass except for the last 10 minutes. You all should get on the Gangs of London. That's a good show. Get Joe over there, and you guys got to do a Geely watch. I'm happy to see Rick and Michonne. Football helmet was ridiculous. Rosita died. Daryl had no reaction upon hearing of Rick's being alive. Daryl had no emotion whatsoever. That's what made it comical when Daryl was the one to give an emotional speech in the middle of everything to kind of change people's emotions. Like, everybody, we're not the enemy. And I know I sound like Eugene when I do my Daryl, but he just sort of, the way he set it up.
What are you doing?
It was just random and weird. Like, everything's all set up and tense, and it's about to go down. And again, Joe, you mentioned it earlier, and I'm going to talk about it when we get into the recap. But one of the single most ridiculously comical, like almost like a 6-year-old playing with a video camera, shooting zombie movies themselves. You shoot Pamela's face, like a close-up of Pamela's face. Then you shoot the walkers walking close, and then the people clawing at the fence, and then give Father Gabriel the key. The way that scene was edited, I just want to put music to it, and re-release it, the Benny Hill music, because it's just so stupid, and it was edited in this like pausey way to make it extra melodramatic, and it didn't work. And it was horrible.
It was horrible.
And we're almost caught up here with the chat. And see, we got a voicemail. We'll play that in a second, too. I like Yumiko, but only because the actress that plays her. This is nothing against any of the actors. A lot of the actors are really good on this show. And I know, Alf, I saw better Lego stop-motion zombie films in this last season. The fact that Oceanside was irrelevant all through the show to show up in the finale. Yeah, they showed up in these last week, and just to be like, okay, let's care about. And that was one of the problems with this episode, too. Rosita was, I guess, a hard-hitting death because of a character that's been around for a while. But other than that, they leaned on the Oceansizer and the Luke. Yeah, good, I remembered his name. I feel like for the way they set this up and the way they set up these finales is you need to take out more than that. I mean, I'm sorry that I just want a bloodbath, but it's the finale, and it's a finale called Rest in Peace. So I feel like you should have wiped out the floor more with characters in a more grandiose kind of way. And you had opportunities to. They were being overwhelmed by the Horde. Joe might not agree with this, but while he's gone, I'll say it. I feel like the walkers felt like a threat tonight at times. And they mother frickin' dropped the ball. Unknown says, I loved the last episode. I thought episode 23 was a pretty good episode. It was probably the best episode of this half of the season. We'll get Joe's thoughts on that in a minute when he gets back. But I do feel like it was the one that entertained me. It had a couple surprises. The Eugene fighting back surprised me. But Eugene in this episode has the George McFly thing where, he fought back once, so now he has the skills to pay the bills again. What happens to Daryl? Dr. Fuckmaster. What a fucking name, Dr. Fuckmaster. That's one of the best names I've seen in a while. What happens to Daryl? Daryl rides off on his motorcycle and somehow ends up in his sequel series, which I believe is set in France. So he gets on a boat or an airplane or something. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Daryl, but he has a magic motorcycle that can fly to all sorts of incredible places. We shall see where he does. Like the Punisher. Merle had a redemption arc. Alpha was lame, but I hated her. The limping dead. Oh, that's who these damn people were next to Rosita. Thank you, Iron Throne. Thank you to everyone checking this out tonight. Whatever happened to Heath? He got a better show, Sonic. Ghost Wolf says, choppy, horrible writing. I'm just ready to see where Rick is at. That's the series I have the most hope for. I'm generally moderately excited for some of these spin-off series. I think they have chances in the way that Joe just said about the webisodes. If you have good actors in a smaller story, there's a chance to tell a decent story. So there's certainly a chance the Negan show or the Daryl show or the Rick show might be decent. Someone was mentioning that the last episode, Joe, you didn't really get a chance to talk about last week's episode. Did you enjoy last week's at all comparatively to some of the other ones with the Judith getting shot? Or I thought last week's was a little bit better, personally.
No.
So this whole section of this whole half has been pretty trash for you.
Yes.
They didn't do much with the variant walkers. I expected more, says Patrick in the live chat. I think the finale should have been way longer, but they had a full season to wrap up so much and kill off more characters or even show more unknown characters like Scott or Barbara. And I think one of the weak new characters, Joe. But the problem is thinking that they could ever just do it in a quality way. Let's take our first voicemail of the night.
Like the fact that they ended it with the Commonwealth storyline is ridiculous. Where they took they wasted so much time in this back half. So much time with unnecessary shit.
Yeah, they did. They did.
They're gonna skip 5 years at a time and shit like that. But not skip the mundane bullshit that's been going on this back half of the season, and just give us the fucking goods.
We get some new emojis in the live chat. Thank you so much, Jose. Thank you to all of our folks. We got a lot of folks in the chat right now. Make sure you hit that like button, share this out, help more and more folks get out here, share your thoughts on the Walking Dead finale. If you like this episode and you're feeling this finale and you're feeling this season and you want to call Joe and I out on being stupid moron heads, we want to hear it. 781-990-8509. You can call on in. Let us know. Let us know in the live chat or text on in if I miss your chat, because zipping through, we're going to get to as many chats and voicemails as we get to tonight. And we're also going to recap everything that happened in this episode tonight, go back over it in excruciating detail until Joe wants to choke me out. And for our first voicemail of the night, it's area code 773.
Phil, it's Luja again, or once again, or the first time tonight. Just wanted to see what's going on with this series finale for this show that I'm not going to watch. I saw your introduction for the for the live, and I had a question. Well, I had two questions. One, the song, where did that originate from? Is that something you made up on your own, or did you just like kind of take that from
He's talking about
someone else and just
Shit
kind of
Buddies.
make it your own?
Talking about the Shit Buddies song. The Shit Buddies thing, if anyone watched the trailer of this episode, Joe and I talked during probably around Walking Dead season 4 or 5. We were talking about how three or early on when we first started talking about the show, that when you're going in the zombie apocalypse, you need someone to watch your back when going to the bathroom, or shit buddy. And then I sort of made up the song and we made a stupid video about it in the woods. That was a lot of fun. So, we made that up. That's not necessarily. Sometimes I do my boat sex song is based on the Guy Love song from Scrubs. And I think I did a Patience song for Game of Thrones too, from Guns N' Roses Patience. Usually I'll do the Weird Al route because he's my dad and shit. But not in this case. In that case, I made up that stupid jingle. You don't have to worry, call your shit. That's all my trash right there.
And second, while watching, I wanted to know, are you wearing pants during that?
Oh, okay. So you want to know the Harry Anderson from Night Court thing. Do I wear pants on the stream? Not only am I wearing pants because it's very...
Almost always.
I'm wearing a Batman onesie because it's fucking cold as shit right now. So I'm wearing the Batman onesie under this. So yes. In fact, I'm wearing lots of pants. Well, extra layers of pants, but almost always. Joe is right about that. I'm not going to say every stream. I haven't done any stream in my boxers, but I get up too much and I dance around and I jump around like an idiot at times. So it's difficult. So this is area code 916, Joe.
Hello, Phil. This is the voice at 916.
Voice.
I
you have such a great voice, the voice.
don't know what to say. Walking Dead has fallen off so past zero. I'm not excited about seeing any of the spinoffs at all. It's so disappointing. And Joe, yes, I agree with you as well. The Commonwealth story, waste of time. It could have been condensed and really added value to this season. Wow, so disappointing.
Oh, thank you to the voice, who has one of the most soothing voices in the world. But yes,
I like it when that voice wants to agree with me.
Yeah, when you thought, you're like, usually I hear a voice like that. It's like Joe, I'm very highly disappointed in you.
Yeah.
I have to put effects on. Listen, Joe, I know I'm very happy about you, but thank you so much, voice. And I couldn't agree more. I think the Commonwealth is an odd choice to end the story on, and it's I don't know. It didn't really work. Okay, here we go.
If you were gonna waste all this time, all these episodes on the Commonwealth shit, you don't end it this season. You take another season.
Yeah.
To really kill off all the rest of your characters.
Kill them off. It's the fucking Walking Dead. But again, we're not celebrating a conclusion. Our watch has not ended. Maybe our watch has ended, but realistically, this is just the beginning. They made sure.
Right, this isn't the end of The Walking Dead.
They made sure before this episode ended, you knew that this is just the beginning.
This is the end of the title season. But now part 2 starts.
Electric Boogaloo, The Walking Dead Universe. It's happening. It's not going anywhere. It's here to stay, Joe. We're inundated with walking disaster for the rest of our fucking life.
AMC's pretty much lost me as a fucking viewer.
At this point, once Better Call Saul is gone, there's not much left. Area code 508. Oh, 508.
Hey, this is Ghost Wolf from YouTube, and I wanted to leave a quick comment. What a horrendously awful inept finale. Who wrote this stuff? Terrible. It's like a Hallmark finale. Half kind of fun and good, and the other half terribly lame, inept. I mean, All right. Ghost Wolf out.
Thank you so much, area code 508. And keep the calls coming, 781-990-8509. His area code 323. Share your thoughts. And if you like this episode, Joe and I want to be called out. We want you to tell us. Joe wants to be called out. We want you to tell us what you liked about this episode. Make us.
So I can tell you how you're wrong.
So I can agree. So I can half-heartedly agree with you and make you feel better about your opinions, and then Joe can yell at both of us and make us both feel stupid. So here we go, Eric. 323.
So, feel the issue with Dr. Fuckmaster.
The Fuckmaster.
I just want to know your opinion on.
I just have to hear that name again. Dr. Fuckmaster is probably one of the best names to get through the YouTube algorithm in a while. I see it in the live chat. Dr. Fuckmaster. That's an awesome fucking name, dude. And I want to play in a funk band with Dr. Fuckmaster.
So, feel the issue, guys. This is Dr. Fuckmaster. I just want to know your opinion on the show involving all the bad words and everything, how they waited till the last minute to do all of that. What do you think? They should have done that the whole season, like the whole series, or I think that they made poor decisioning by listening to the public when Negan turned Glenn's head into scrambled eggs. They should have done that the whole series. I think the show would have been like 10-10.
Yeah.
Area code 323.
Thank you, buddy. Area code 323, Dr. Fuckmaster. I cannot agree with you more. Joe is nodding along as well. I know it's trivial. I know it's a small thing. But when you hold back language, it's really noticeable. When there's moments when it would feel, people hate this word, but it's true. But it's an accurate word. When something feels like you should be organically swearing, like holy shit, what the fuck. It works. One of the few things I did enjoy about this season, and again, it was in last episode, was Negan's what the fuck when the walkers started to climb up something. And he just gives this what the fuck kind of reaction, which I thought, yeah, you need the word fuck there. So I think there's many times where they've dropped the ball, or in some shows, they have like one or two fucks they can drop a year, and they put them at really weird times. But I did notice this season them dropping a lot more bombs. It does seem like you can just swear anytime you want on regular television, and now it doesn't matter. So it's just about making the choice at this point. And so I think
I bet what they've done is they probably look at where all the complaints come in to the FCC. And then are like, you know what? We'll just edit it out in those markets.
Yeah, I would.
And dub it to what the heck over Idaho, over frickin' Utah, so that those people who are all going to hear fuck don't have to hear it, and don't call the FCC.
One of those strange things that I'm not nostalgic for, but not nostalgic for in the way that I want back, but I do look back on with some fondness, Joe, is watching movies that have no business being on TBS or something, and like really bad edits of the bad language. Yeah. And you mother grabbing people.
It still happens all the time.
I guess I
watch the right movie at the right time.
I guess
even the wrong movie at the right time.
Mercer is my boy. He should have been on the show longer. I thought Mercer was good as a new character being introduced. Joe's laughing at me. What was weird about Mercer in this episode, though, is he got broken out of jail, which was kind of a cool scene, a decent explosion, and a good moment. And he's in regular clothes, and then he takes the time in the zombie horde apocalypse to go put on his red stormtrooper outfit.
Got to show everybody that the general is making. He's still the general.
Yeah, and he ends as lieutenant governor. What an episode. What a series. What an amazing conclusion. There's been a change to the poll results. Oh I know. Oh, the polls are switching. Things are moving. This
250 votes. How many times can I vote?
I know. I keep voting against it. How many alt accounts can I create to vote here? But please.
Can I keep voting? Seriously?
Make sure you're a friend of the court of the issue and you make your fake YouTube accounts.
250 people.
Yeah,
Wow.
keep liking. You should have seen it in the Better Call Saul show. We had thousands of people in those polls voting, but people watching and talking about The Walking Dead right now, popping in and out and checking this out. We appreciate everyone joining us tonight.
Was really a tier a minute is winning? Bullshit. Bullshit. Amazon bought some fucking
Joe, get out.
Some freaking computer bang.
Joe, get off the conspiracy theories.
They're fucking buying YouTube votes right now. Jesus, that's
people get in and vote. Get the votes out. If you haven't voted, get the votes. Could someone?
Anybody that voted a tier a minute, you need to pipe up and tell us how, because there's a lot of them. It's 33% of 250.
We'll get when we get to the end of here. We'll see if people can explain themselves. Cinema Hawk, could someone
explain yourself?
Cinema Hawk, could someone compile an abridged watch guide for season 8 onward? I would take the filler at this point. I would say watch somebody's like just what happened last season. Clips, there's not much. I mean, from season 8 onward, you just get different group messing with the main group, and we meet the Whispers, these people that wear masks as zombies. That's a big arc. That's decent enough. We get Negan and the Saviors. Negan becomes a good guy, bad guy, good guy, bad guy, good guy again. And here we are in the Commonwealth. Basically, that's it. I mean, we got our first super chat donation of the night from the little engine that could. Says, long live Rick Grimes. Thank you so much for that super chat. That means
the ones that live
so much. And let's press the fucking luck. Time to press this luck. Press the luck audio. Do it. Thank you so much for the super chat donation as we spun the wheel. It landed on... What the fuck that landed on? Landed on... Spin again. Oh my god. That's anti...
That was weak, dude.
That was anti fucking climactic. Spin a fuck. Pressure luck, no whammies. Everyone drink. So whatever you're drinking, whether it be coffee, whether it be water, whether it be whatever, time to pour it up. Pour us a shot. Pour a sip of water. This is the one time where it's okay to toast water if that's what you're drinking. And let's all take a shot to The Walking Dead disappearing. Here we go. Thank you so much to Rick Grimes and to the little engine that could, and to all of our channel members as well that help support the channel month to month. You guys are amazing. I've released my drunk on vacation video as a private video for you guys, and I'll be doing more of those kind of things, and making and also the fuck auto video is available to you guys as well. And thank you to all of our patrons as well, as we've got a few more patrons as well recently. So thank you to everyone that supports the channel. It helps us keep doing this shit. Okay, so let's keep going. Commonwealth forever. Joe, we've messed around a little bit here. We've talked and we've talked and we've talked. But it's about time. I know it's the last time. I mean, we might talk about it in one of these Walking Dead spin-off series again at some point, but for the last time and the best time, let's get into this. It's time for a recap.
There we go. Oh, I'm not as young as I used to be. I can't headbang like I used to.
Okay, it's time for a recap of what happened in this episode of The Walking Dead. Oh my goodness.
Read Atari Dad's comment first.
Phil, Phil, and we keep the voicemails coming and keep the texts coming. We got 3 voicemails, 2 texts. We'll take those before we get into our recap. I just wanted to get that over with. I felt like jumping around like an idiot for a second. Would you want to watch a documentary that comes out in 10 to 20 years where the cast and crew members talk about what a dumpster fire the later seasons of The Walking Dead were? Yes. It's okay. Tonight, I don't know, Joe, were you watching any of the before we get into the recap of the episode, were you watching any of the pre-show?
Yeah, it was on.
Yeah, and they had like all the actors there. They were all like celebrating what a great
on the red carpet. Merle came out.
Merle came out. It was so awkward.
Merle came out and interrupted Beth's.
Beth was there. Yeah,
red carpet.
Beth got more attention than Maggie was ignoring Beth. Lauren Cohan walked past Beth and Loretti was like, whatever. And then they had all the different cast members. Who will be the first cast member to come out and write the book about how horrible their experience? Carl. I mean, his dad already kind of dropped it a little bit. His dad is doing that a little bit, but you think Carl will be the first one that just comes out and goes all Will Wheaton on it and like writes a blog about how bad the new episodes.
No, it'll be one of the later actors that signed on and moved to Georgia and got fucked by getting killed off early or some shit.
Madman Mart says, "What up, Phil and Joe? Hope you guys are doing well. I've been playing God of War Ragnarok. Hell, awesome game, hard as hell. Everyone give the Madman Mart some love. Follow him on any of his platforms. He's fun to watch and really awesome dude. Lots of love to the Madman Marts." Heineken66, who is also a channel member. Thank you so much for being a channel member and helping supporting us. It means more than you know. See that little lotus face next to your name in the chat. And you can also get access to your silly emojis that we have. We got Joe Dirty Locks, we got Cheech and Chong, we got Shit Buddies, we got me and Joe dancing like little dancing bears. We got Lotus and we got Goofy. So those are all.
Get on that shit.
Get on, yeah. You want to come on in? There we go. I'm throwing all those in.
Rage face.
Yeah, the Joe Rant rage face and stuff like that. You can get that shit right in there. Joss McDermott was just trolling the hell out of the pre-show. At one point, he was like, "Watch that vampire show too." I like him when he's not in the Eugene character. And I think it's kind of funny because he's sort of playing a comedy character. And I've said this before, when he's coming in for sort of a quick bit here and there doing Eugene, it's a funny version. If they did a live version of King of the Hill, I'd want him to play Boomhauer. Like, I think he could do it good. But I don't like him giving him dramatic shit. His dramatic shit is horrible.
It's awful. They're all awful at dramatic shit. They're all awful at dramatic shit. Carol, not so much.
No, Carol can pull it off. I think Aaron can pull it off. Don't say who's Aaron. But I think he can do it. I think Ezekiel, not Ezekiel. Gabriel can, because he's on The Wire and Oz, and I've seen him do it on both of those shows. So he's a good actor, and when he's in stuff that actually Seth Gillian.
A couple of them can, and probably more of them than we saw here, who were probably given awful, horrible direction.
Yep. Joe, we still got a handful. Let's get to some of these voicemails before we get into our recap here. Area code 510.
Hi, guys. This is Chalkboy8. I'm calling from California. I just wanted to thank you guys for for all the shows that we've done, and it's like we're in it together, good or bad, and thanks a lot, and good luck. Go Pats. Bye now.
Chalk Boy, thank you so much. I've seen your name in the chat. I think this is the first time you've called in. And I think Joe would agree to, even going through this the horribleness of having to watch The Walking Dead. It's fun to do this all together and go through it, and hopefully
all together now.
All together now. But Joe, do you definitely prefer talking about shows you like, though? I mean it's been a while since you and I talked about a show that we both like. I'm trying to think, because it was probably. And I know you weren't feeling the most recent season, but it was probably the season previous to Cobra Kai that you and I talked about something that we both enjoyed. I'm trying to think if there's something before that, but we took that long break when I moved and everything.
Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul, but we haven't talked about I think we talked about Cobra Kai since that last season of Better Call Saul that you and I talked about. Because I was in that other Marblehead place by then. We just didn't do other shows that we enjoy. The next shows that, and I know it's coming out sooner rather than later, that Joe and I will be talking about together. Maybe we'll pop in and do some other reviews, but we mentioned The Last of Us. Also, the new season of Invincible, when that drops, we're going to talk about that episode by episode. Every week it comes out, or I am, and I'm going to try to bring Joe along for that. And we threaten to do this every year, but we never actually do it. But we'll try to do it this next coming season, talk about The Boys after every episode of The Boys. Because we're both watching that show week to week, and I talk about it, but it'd be more fun to talk about it with somebody. So we'll definitely talk about The Boys as well.
Oh, yeah.
My brother Nempsey in the live chat. Hey, Phil, nice to see you back. Great to see you back. Dirty Locks. Aaron's character does some amazing impressions too. He was the guy to replace Hugo Weaving as Red Skull in the last two Avengers movies. Oh wow. Will the Muppet Babies be getting a show too? Probably some webisodes, I'm guessing, with the Muppet Babies. Yes, Severance. I will definitely be talking about Severance.
Yeah, Severance is good.
Oh, you've watched Severance? You finally watched it?
I watched a couple episodes, yeah.
Oh, good. I'm glad you like Severance, because it would have hurt me. I suggest a lot of shows to you, and not everyone I think you're gonna like. Severance is one that I'm like, this is just a good show, and even if it's kind of dreamy at times and mystery boxy, it's done really well. It's a Ben Stiller show. Ben Stiller makes it, and it has his level of quality. We will definitely be talking about Severance in season 2. Now that I know that Joe actually watches it, and I know I'm going to be talking about it on Tony's channel with Tony as well. So here's area code 403. I want to drop this and just talk about Severance with you, because it's really fun, especially Christopher Walken and John Turturro. They're both excellent in it.
I haven't gotten there. I've only watched like 2 episodes.
Oh,
maybe only 1 episode.
Well, Christopher Walken and John Turturro are in it, and they're both awesome. Okay, so area code 403.
Yeah, so I figured out that the Walking Dead is like Mike when he's sitting on the edge of the river. and The Walking Dead is Mike when he says, "Stop, Walter. Won't you just let me die in peace?" And we're the audience. And we're like, okay, you just die in peace. And then The Walking Dead, and it doesn't die. It just sits there, stares at the river, and then expects us to shut up and not say anything about this stupid old show staring at a river and not dying. Like, seriously, you stupid show. Just die in a river.
So the point of that call is stupid show, die in a river, and I love your call, 403. We'll look into talking about Squid Game Season 2. I definitely enjoyed Season 1. I'm also worried about Season 2 of Severance. I will be talking about From, obviously, with Tony over on Teflon TV, but I'm going to try to, especially if they release it on a different platform, I'll try to get Joe into that as well. And I'm going to be trying to do episodes of From over here, too, occasionally as well. I might also start talking a little bit, do like a end of the season discussion on Peripheral. There's a lot of shows I want to talk about, but so there'll be no shortage of fun and silliness stuff I'm doing here on my own, stuff that I can drag Joe over here to talk to me with, or stuff we can bring Tony or David or somebody else or Bridge over to have some fun discussions. And obviously jumping over with the usual suspects with Tony and Bridge, and occasionally popping over with Carmine and Preston as well. So let's continue with this. Area code 778.
Hi, Phil and Joe. This is Melissa. I'm calling from Vancouver, Canada. You guys are hilarious, by the way. Just wanted to, I'm an original watcher. I used to watch from Season 1, Episode 1, and I kind of stopped watching because
I feel like we're all in I'm gonna finish your call, Melissa. I feel like we're all in some support group right now. I've been a watcher. Hi, my name is Phil. I've been a watcher since Season 4, and then I watched come back.
Hi, Phil.
Hi, Phil.
Thank you. Good share.
I would have quit this show, but I do a recap show that I need to talk about it every week. and I'm a completionist. And
I quit 7 years ago, but I fell off the wagon.
I keep falling off the wagon, Joe. I can't help myself.
It was just one watch, though, because it was the finale.
Okay, let's continue. Thank you for the call, by the way. You're very sweet, Melissa.
Well, as Joe so eloquently said, it was a dumpster fire. It was trash. So it just became really unwatchable. Before it became unwatchable, though, I just wanted to know, well, two things. One, where you guys thought that it might have gone off the rails. And two, if you had certain characters who you rooted for. For me, for example, I really loved Rick, as a lot of people do, of course. But I think my favorite character, though, is probably Carol. I think she's probably one of my favorites of all time. So anyway, those are my questions. Keep up the good work, guys, and thanks a lot.
No, thank you. Excellent voicemail. And Joe, it's funny she mentioned that because I did want to go back. This is our last week talking about The Walking Dead and look back at some good times. So to answer her question, what are some of your favorite characters, happy memories about The Walking Dead?
I was always a Daryl fan. And I liked Dale. Let's see. So I rooted for them a lot in the beginning. I've had my ups and downs with Carol as a character. I gotta say she's probably, when I look back as a whole on the entire show, I'll probably end up saying she put in the most work.
Yeah.
For her character, for the show, for what she gave, at least if not the most work, what and I know I haven't always had the nicest shit to say about her, but yeah, I'd probably agree with that she might end up being my favorite character, and when it's all said and done with, because this last season or so with Daryl, since Rick disappeared, Daryl has just been weird.
I would,
Joe, maybe even longer. But
before you get off Carol for a second, I would say the biggest problem with Carol is, and I've said this before, I'm just repeating myself, but it's the last week, so whatever. Is the Peter Petrelli-ness of it all. They made her too powerful at a certain point in time, and they had to constantly nerf her. It's like they made her in that episode with the wolves, where she just basically destroys a whole army of people, all the
cannibals.
Yeah, all by herself. No, that wasn't the cannibal group. That was pre the cannibal group. It was this group called the Wolf. It was like a one-off 2-episode arc group, like the Claimers were. And they
also goes in and frees them all from the containers.
Right, with the in Terminus.
Yeah.
Is she so they led her up to a point where she was such an unstoppable force that there was nowhere to go but just have her pontificate at times and be like Rocky not wanting to fight Apollo. Like Rocky can't fight the fight. Like we can't just start Rocky 2 with having Rocky get back in the ring and kick Apollo's ass. We have to have half the movie of Rocky being like, I can't fight. My eye. Adrian doesn't want me to fight. I can't fight. Like there isn't going to be 6 more movies. And there's a little bit of that with Carol where they make it so like she kicks so much ass that she can't kick so much ass all the time because it's like any problem would be solved.
So they just have her have the stereotypical breakdown, like character breakdown.
Exactly, like emotional, like I can't be violent anymore. I have to be moved. I
need to go be alone, so I'm going to go shack up with Ezekiel and his crew.
And then I'm going to leave Ezekiel and go live in a shack for a year and do so. Instead of because they can't just have Carol going in there and kicking everyone's ass because they made her too powerful. And anyone who didn't watch Heroes, they had a character, Peter Petrelli, that could suck people's powers, and he kept every power. And then he got too many people's powers, and he was too powerful and kick everyone's ass, so they had him remove all his powers, and then they brought it back, and he could only take one power at a time. And that's kind of what they've turned into Carol into, where now instead of just being all-time badass, she can be one part of Carol at a time. And then when she's nice, like fun Carol, I just talking about callbacks, it's like poetry, it rhymes. I like how they had the scene with Rosita where Carol's putting her to bed. I almost wanted her to say, it was almost like a show me the flowers, like look at the flowers, Rosita. Look at the flowers. We got Igor in the live chat. Great to see all of you guys. We still have a bunch more voicemails. Let's get to our text messages, but keep the calls coming. Area code 315 says, back in February, Andrew Lincoln was in Atlanta with the cast taking pictures with fans. So I knew he was going to be there. For what? They could have filmed Muddy Feet Away. Like, yeah, exactly. So he's like, I think they filmed that on the Black Panther set. Yeah, that's what it seemed like. That it seemed like they got Denai right off of set. She was still in costume. She looked like she was in the shape, like in her Marvel shape. And the Rick stuff, as Joe pointed out, God knows when they filmed it. But I feel like that was just previews from the already
yes, it was
partially filmed Rick Grimes series.
As far as, to get back to the caller, as far as where it all went awry, a couple episodes before the dumpster scene with Glenn.
I would say.
And then it was definitely over at the dumpster.
I think there were some good episodes after they got to Alexandria, but no, I'm saying even before you, Joe.
What? That was a good episode.
Yeah, you were ready to disagree with me there, but I think there were some good episodes after they got to Alexandria.
So, there's good moments,
but once they really get there in that scene where like all of them take showers and clean up, like from that point on, the puncture wound had happened, and that feeling of uneasiness that you always feel with our core group of they have no home was gone, and it turned into a drama of like a situational drama from community to community. And that's when they started to introduce too many other new characters. Holy shit, Joe, we have another super chat donation from Luna Cascade that says, love your energy, Phil. Thank you so much. I'm fueled by caffeine and alcohol right now, really. But let me spin the super chat wheel and see what you fucking won. Let me play some super chat music here. Super chat music. There we go. Super chat music. Play the music, damn you. Okay, spin that fucking wheel. And it landed on Luna, remind me, this is midnight right now. Remind me next time I do a stream during the day, or if I'm on a Tony stream or something, I owe you one trumpet solo. I can't play trumpet at midnight right now, but I landed on trumpet solo, so I owe you a trumpet solo. There we go. I promise. Hold me to that, Luna. Don't let me forget that damn trumpet solo. I mean, you can pay me not to play the trumpet. That's what Joe's thinking. He's like, thank God. He's like, oh my goodness. Okay. When Rosita
hit that mute button.
Igor says, when Rosita fell off the wall and jumped out of the zombie pool, I literally yelled, fuck off. Could not believe they did that. And later gave her the comic Andrea death. That's my point, Igor. Not about the comic Andrea death, just because I haven't read it, but I don't appreciate all of that stuff that they're doing where they're using, kind of placating comic deaths with other characters. Either do something.
Whoa.
Go. What are you owing?
A super chat needs to be addressed immediately.
Okay.
That's why he's paid super chat money for this shit.
Okay.
So Henry, thank you for the super chat.
Henry, let me. You want to read it, Joe?
Okay. Now, you don't think that this was super bad for a finale that was super rushed? Okay. And you thought that it was really cool to see your boy Lance back as a walker. Okay, we addressed that a little bit earlier with, the odds of that's the walker that's front and center at the gate at that moment from out of nowhere. Okay.
Phil, take a shot.
Cool. All right. But here we go. What was super rushed? They knew this shit was ending before the mid-season break. They had all the mid-season break. They had so much time to write this good. They knew this shit was over. They had enough time to plan and prep and get ready for all these extra fucking spin-offs. It was not super rushed. So if it's not super rushed, then this was a shitty finale because it wasn't that bad for a finale that was super rushed. This one's not super rushed. It wasn't like they were like, oh, we're done filming the last, we have 2 more episodes to film, and they told us we're canceled.
So
no, they had more than half. They probably hadn't even written the back half of the season.
So Joe,
and they decided to take a whole half of the season to waste all this time. And this finale had been written forever. They had more than enough time to make this right.
What are you saying, Robin? What are you saying?
Well, thank you very much for the super chat donation.
You're such an asshole.
That's how you get your chat.
Yeah, that's how you get your money's worth, Henry. People want the Joe rants. That's how you get the fucking money. For being super rushed, I didn't think it was that bad of a finale. Also, I thought it was really cool to see my boy Lance back as a walker. And your super chat landed on Phil drink, so I'm gonna take a second drink just because I love and
I do like eggnog too. I know you asked Phil, but I do like it.
You like it? Did you say you like eggnog?
Yeah. He asked if you like it.
Oh no, I'm not really a fan. I asked since
Phil eggs.
Oh, I like eggs. I like eggs, but I only like when I make eggs. I'm
eggs
weird.
And matzah.
I like the white eggs. I just make the whites of the eggs.
Ooh, the egg whites.
I love it.
Eggland's best egg whites.
It's delicious. I make a big. I'll get like an egg white omelet with nothing in it. It's delicious. Come on, man. The finale was brilliant.
It subverted expectations by not being what good.
Yes, people.
I mean, by
people expected it to be good, Joe.
Yeah. Oh, he's joking.
So how did this episode switch to the Rick? Someone says 531. So how did this episode switch to the Rick scene? Sorry if it's a dumb question. No.
With as Phil put it earlier, shitty editing.
Thank you, Joe. That is the answer, 531. Area code 910. Hey, Phil and Joe. This is the little engine that could. I've been an OG since day one, but fell off after the Whispers War in the Pike scene. My real name is Tyler. I graduated high school with Caleb Wumble's son, Parker Wumble. Side note, Caleb Wumble is the co-producer. Caleb is a creep and a weirdo, but his son is hilarious. Just like your all favorite 2 characters are Daryl and Negan. Thank you for that inside information, 9110. I appreciate that. You're fucking awesome. Rosita got bit in one place on her body, and the zombies couldn't get to.
Right? Like, where the fuck was she bit?
Back in the back. Like, she got bit in a spot that they didn't want to show. Did they not
show it?
No, they never fucking showed it. They didn't want to do the makeup work on her.
They
should
have had her come back real quick and fucking take a bite out of that baby.
She just should have died in the corner instead of
she should have died in the pile.
In the pile,
with the baby, while Gabriel watched from the window above. And who was the other one? Fucking Eugene climbing a pole like a fucking super ninja out of nowhere. That fuck. No way. No way he climbs up that pole like that.
Joe, I know the I have the circumference of a lion.
Falls off that pole and knocks both fucking Gabriel and Rosita back down into the pile of fucking zombies.
Listen, Joe, don't try to deny my capabilities. I'm a good man. But Eggnog, Nog, in Deep Space Nine. Did you all notice that they wouldn't show Lydia's arm, the cheap bastards? They weren't. Yep. No, I didn't even notice she didn't have an arm, except they had that scene with Aaron, the one-on-one scene with Aaron, where we
mentioned it. Yeah, they bandaged a stump of something and then panned up.
How you doing? Okay, here we go. Area code 773.
Greetings, Phil. This is me again. I just took a drink with you, or for you, or against you, or however you would like to.
With me. Oh, sorry. Your call ended up getting cut off there. Sorry about that, my friend, but I will give you I used to Uber. You would say something to your therapist. Okay, let's continue. Let's see.
No.
Here we go.
Since this show is just so terrible, I want to know. I have a friend who has a friend whose favorite character is Joffrey Baratheon from Game of Thrones.
Oh.
I used to do Uber, and one of my Ubers said that, your favorite character is Joffrey. You should go see a therapist or a doctor or something like that. Would you say the same thing about that for The Walking Dead?
Okay, in the bolder question, Is it okay? Do you think if someone likes a really sick, twisted television or movie character, it says something about themselves? No, me neither. I think video games. Whenever I play Knights of the Old Republic or a game that gives me any kind of choice, I always take the evil route. What's that say about me? Am I an evil person at heart, or do I just like on Deep Space Nine?
You need to go see a therapist if you shoot all the little animals in the video game that are just walking around that they allow you to.
Damn,
doesn't do anything.
Don't hate on those pixels.
Allow you to.
Joe, don't be a pixel hater.
Right? Does that make you a bad person?
You're a pixelist. You're fucking with the pixels. Don't fuck with the pixels. I must admit,
you can like the worst of the worst as far as movies.
Yeah.
Natural Born Killers is a great movie. Those characters fucking awesome.
I love Garrick on Deep Space Nine. He's a horrible fucking person. Area code 678. I just saw you have it's a slightly longer message, so we're gonna get a little bit into the recap here. So we're not doing this forever here. So we open up with Daryl bringing Judith to the hospital. Right away, this is filmed like a 19-year-old film student's first semester film. It's like with slow motion cuts, and it's just weird altered angles. Judith wakes up Rick style in episode 1 because Daryl passes out because the guards walk past Daryl and knock him out. It was so hard to kind of tell what the fuck was going on. Why didn't they shoot Daryl? They just knocked him out and walked past him. What exactly happened here? And then Judith woke up from the gunshot wound and was able to overpower walkers at the door and close, or was that a dream?
No, that was true. And then she fell down on the floor next to
Daryl. That really happened?
That really happened.
No, that's so stupid.
Yeah. You know why that happened? Because that's like Last of Us shit going on right there.
Oh, was that a trying to get to it before Last of Us moment?
Yeah, almost.
Oh God. So do you feel like you mentioned this a little bit last time when we were talking with David? Do you feel like The Walking Dead in this last season has borrowed a little bit from Last of Us stuff in the last couple of seasons?
Yeah, quite a lot.
So we'll talk more about The Last of Us as we're getting into it. I know Joe's super excited about that. I also, as I mentioned, I spent a lot of time over with my good buddy and partner Tony Teflon, who's also a Last of Us fan. I might finally get my two best podcasting friends together and get Tony over here.
You want good story, great character development. This is where you go.
He's
no bad writing shit on this.
I'm glad that I'm ignorant to the game at this point when the series is so close. So I'm going into this naked, and it's going to be interesting to see the different experience between people like you and Tony that are familiar and passionate about the game, and someone like me that's just watching it as a TV series and not the only thing. I mean, I know it's zombie-ish or the clickers or whatever type of shit, but I don't know much about the story. So I like that I don't know much about the story, and I hope that works to my benefit in this series, not to my disadvantage. Are you going to be and before we get back to The Walking Dead, are you going to be judging this more if it's a good TV series or if it's faithful to the source material?
It's going to be hard not to, because I'm a really big fan of the source material. Like it's going to be really hard to not
judge it based around the source material.
When I watched season, there hasn't been too many. So even there's not too many things that I've watched and read, right? But the couple things that I have, usually I end up watching then reading, and not reading then watching.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones was kind of unique because I saw season 1, then read books 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then read book 1.
In The Walking Dead, you watched and then went back and read the comics
and
afterwards.
Same
with Invincible, I believe, too. You said you went.
I haven't read any Invincible, no. But so it's going to be hard to separate the two while I'm watching and not comparing.
Do you think it's possible?
Because the characters are so beloved to me. The actors that played them did them so well. They were turned into such great video games. So
do you think, and again, this is similar to, just to wrap this back into The Walking Dead, are you worried that it's impossible for this show to live up to your video game experience expectations? And you're muted right now.
No, because the video game plays like an absolute fucking movie. It's great.
So you want them to play almost one for one for the video game?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't necessarily have to be. There's quite a few cutscenes, and
just for the record, no spoilers here. We won't be talking.
I'm not putting any. There's lots of cutscenes, and there's ways to do those scenes without having to do them exactly the same way. If you've played the game, you know how Lexington plays out when Joel gets there. So, before they run into what they're looking for, right? So you know how things work, the little fun things that you get to do. Those can be different, right? It doesn't have to be the same action sequences, but a lot of the drama is going to be the same. Is the dialogue necessarily going to be the same? No, not necessarily. Already I've been thinking this, been racking my brain trying to I love Pedro Pascal. I love almost everything I've ever seen him in. Now, or I have everything I've seen him in, really enjoyed him. I'm having trouble reconciling him as Joel, but the more I watch the preview, the more I watch some like quick clip or still shot that I see, he's fitting it for me much more. So
okay, so I mean, what we will see. We're going to
I can't separate the two.
We're going to be talking.
I haven't even watched the second one.
We will be talking about this after every episode. It's going to be airing on Sunday night, so we'll be on at the same time we're on right now, 10:15 p.m. talking about the episodes. I'm going to contact HBO, see if Joe and I can get the episodes a week early or something like that. But we'll be talking about The Last of Us. Let's get back into The Walking Dead here.
Wait, can you? Can you?
We'll talk. We'll talk after the air. I was able to get House of the Dragon episodes a week early. I'll contact my HBO PR person and see if it's possible, Joe.
Nice.
We've been lucky enough that HBO is beautiful to us, and I don't have to lie. I love all of HBO's programming, so I can just be like, I want to promote your shit, and I don't have to say it. Literally, pretty much almost every HBO series is awesome.
Yeah, because if The Last of Us sucks and I come out and I start shitting on it, Phil, they're not going to give you anything else.
Oh, they're not watching, Joe. They're not watching.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Anyways, so we open up with Daryl bringing Judith into the hospital. Judith wakes up. Rick Grimes wants something. After the success, music kicks in. The walking, bang, 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 let me in. Back in the Commonwealth, it's stabby stab times. The walkers are in town, and all of our heroes are there. Balls of Fury guy gets eaten, or does he? It's hard to see. I don't really know what happened. Holy shit! We got another super chat donation. Tom P. 678 was me. My bad. I had a lot to say. Nope, Tom P., I'm going to play your whole message. You don't have to apologize. I just wanted to get a little bit into the recap before I played it. We're going to play it. But thank you so much for that super chat donation. I'm going to play your damn message, of course. But my bad. I had a lot to say. I really catch you guys live and got cut off. I've been watching you all.
Play it now because you know he's on. He should hear
wanted to contribute to the finale. I took a long haul, but mainly I was good to be thanking you both. Let's play your damn message. We're going to play your fucking damn message right fucking now.
Yo, what's going on? Phil and Joe. My name is Tom P. I've been watching our show for the last few years. I'm going to try to make it short.
No, don't make it short. Make it long because that suits Joe and I. Now, Joe.
That's how we like it.
We like it long.
We want a little girth to our comments.
We want your love to be girthy. Is it weird to you sometimes to think about how long, and we're going to play the rest of this message. It's a little weird to me in a good way that we're here at the end of another series and people have been with us. We've been lucky enough to have some people with us since the beginning of talking about The Walking Dead here, Joe. So more than the show itself, I think this is awesome. And thank you to this caller for being one of the people that's been joining us for all these years.
It is fantastic.
It's really fucking ridiculous sometimes.
Why anybody would want to listen to me speak, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like all the messages that Phil gets that he doesn't show me. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking about. I am an idiot.
Yeah, I personally keep a whole
Thanks.
I keep a whole file of that in case you do something that pisses me off, Joe, so I can start sending you some of those.
Just email bomb me.
Yeah, he'll be like, why do you even have that guy on? What the fuck? You're better alone. No, I'm kidding. Here we go, 678.
But just want to know I'm a big supporter of y'all. First time calling in. So I just want to say this. I grew up in Atlanta, And since this is the finale, I kind of want to tell my little story here. So, because the show was filmed in Atlanta, you guys would have no idea how significant this show was back in like 2010, 2011, even for a while after that. Literally about half the bars in Atlanta used to shut down on Sunday nights and only show The Walking Dead. So everybody who's in the bar would have to...
I'm going to keep playing this message, Joe, but I just want to cut on every point that they're making because I think it's super important to think about here.
It was huge.
Dude, remember how huge this show was? It was
great back then.
And it's not even about it being great or better television. It was appointment watching, like watching football or watching The Sopranos or watching Game of Thrones in the last couple of seasons or Breaking Bad in the last season or Better Call Saul in this final season. It became like appointment watching that people were watching, like you're watching it, you're tuning in. The whole, again, like you say, bars got shut down on Sunday nights and they were like playing The Walking Dead instead of Sunday Night Football. It was that big at a point in time, Joe, and we're here in a finale night where it dies with a whimper. It dies with a fucking whimper. And anyways, we'll keep playing your message, but you're so correct about this point.
Be quiet and watch it. And these places were packed. I mean, you would have to get there so early to get a table, and everybody there was so excited about it. So I thought, and not only that, but at the time, the show's ratings were like through the roof. It was beating out like the Super Bowl and like the Oscars and things.
Exactly.
I mean, crazy ratings, right? And I thought that was so interesting. I wrote like an entire college like paper on it, and my like thesis or whatever was pretty much that like the reason it was so popular is because of the way that they killed characters early in the show. It almost made it kind of like a sporting event. Like, you know, a lot of shows, they only have some big revelation in the mid-season finale or something. But early on, if you missed an episode, you'd be like, oh, shit, you didn't hear that this character died or that character died. So you pretty much had to be there every Sunday. And I know you guys have, like, an issue with, like, the dumpster thing with Glenn, but I actually started reading the comics around season 5, and I actually saw that as a way to throw off comic book fans who would know that Negan was going to kill Glenn at some point. So I thought even that was clever. Personally, I liked season 6, and I thought season 7 midway was about the last great time of Walking Dead, because what they did was they allowed Negan to mercifully kill a few characters, as that may happen in a real life situation where zombies took over the earth and people are tyrannical. And then season 7 comes back with all these new writers, new staff, because they started losing
Scott Gimple
fans.
got fired, yep.
But see, to me, I thought those were like the fair weather fans who pretty much were just so used to regular TV tropes that to not see Glenn get some sort of typical hero's death was like devastating to them. When in reality, it made it more realistic, it made it cooler, and it was more in tune with what I thought The Walking Dead should be. From there, the show went to complete shit. They started adding all the characters from the comics, but they ruined their arcs. For instance, during the Whisperer thing, it was supposed to be the King who got spiked by the Whisperers.
And they got cut off right there. But the point I want to kind of tread on where the caller was going is, I think different people have different definitions on when the show dropped off. We focus on the dumpster thing a lot as it's a good sort of tentpole moment. And in my memory of us watching it, that's the point where it sort of dived off. But I guess there were certain, it still was
that was the shark jump.
But even after Shark Jump, there was a couple of episodes of Happy Days that still were good, all right here and there. But this last season has just been trash. Fernandez T, thank you so much for that super sticker. Someone said they started to become a fan of us at this point, Joe. Do you remember this Joe rant?
That's the thing. I'm Superman and you're Batman, and I lay one finger on you, and that finger goes through your fucking forehead because I'm Superman, and I can lift fucking buildings, and all you are is Batman. The very beginning of the fucking Invincible show shows you exactly how stupid fucking Batman is fighting alongside these fucking gods and titans and aliens of other fucking worlds and dimensions. Are you fucking kidding me? He can't even hold the goddamn, what was it, a car or a tank with his electronic little fucking limbs that start fucking crushing under the weight? Him and the girl are gonna fucking die. Thankfully, he gets the girl out. Thankfully, another fucking hero has to come over and save his goddamn fucking ass. Are you kidding me? Fuck Batman. Superman can fucking crush her. He's gonna piss. I'm gonna fucking piss from my goddamn fucking tower and fucking cave of solitude and are so fucking far and so fucking fierce that it's gonna hit the fucking Batcave and crush the entire thing and drown every goddamn bat from floor to fucking ceiling. That's who Superman is. Yeah, I remember that.
Sonic Boy said that's when he became a fan of the series of us. So yeah.
Thank you.
I was gonna try to pick and choose a bunch of Joe rants from over the years, but I just had that one locked and loaded. Okay, so we get more tears as the Balls of Fury guy dies and laughing. We got some hot girls here, so let me get the hot girls. Hide user on the channel. Bye, hot girls. If you want hot girls,
back to hot girls,
yeah, if you want your hot girls, you can hawk your wares at a different place. So yes, thank you. Hopefully the Joe rants are not over with, but that was definitely an epic one. Okay, so they all die together, and our new Glee class is just I don't care. And we cut over to Daryl and Carol, who don't care that they're like the kids' table over there, and then they stab his ass in the head, and everyone cries more. And I felt, to anyone who felt anything when Balls of Fury guy died, I felt like emotionally dead, Joe. I felt nothing.
Nothing at all. Even watching the people like cry for him, I was like, really?
It was fucking a disaster.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the amazing, the wonderful Carmine from Red Team Review in the live chat. Great to see Carmine in there. And make sure you subscribe if you haven't already to Carmine and Preston Jacobs as well. Check out all of their stuff. I pop over on their live streams on Sunday nights sometime at around the same time. Post our streams, or next week, since Joe and I won't be on a Sunday, I pop over there on Sunday night. So make sure you're subscribed to both of them for some awesome fucking shit. Allison's OnlyFans for feet. The Joe rant, that was fucking epic. That was an epic Joe rant. There's many. At one point in time, when I have more time, I'm going to go back and do a Joe rant compile list. It should be perfect. Now that I can, we will do that. Did you hyperventilate? Yes, he did. Joe always hyperventilates. I think that's why he doesn't Joe rant anymore. I think he had a heart attack.
Small stroke.
Yeah, small stroke at one point in time. Allison's OnlyFans says one golden dragon per month. Allison, what info do you have for me today? Okay, so they all die together, and the new Glee class dies, and I don't really give a fuck. So then we go to Daryl, who gives Judith blood because my blood type is type O negative. Anyone likes my blood because Merle used
How
to
did
sell
we
my
not
blood.
know this the whole time, Daryl?
No, Daryl's can just hook his blood up to anybody. He just does it. He knows how to do it.
Thanks a lot. We've needed like 10 transfusions over the last 9 years. You didn't bother to tell anybody?
Joe, I have this piece of pertinent information for you right now. I gotta tell you, I'm actually a millionaire. Let's buy ourselves a house and go to the beach. Like, what the fuck? And then a compilation of video to Joe reacts to the Joe rants videos. I would
God.
That would be great. I think I embarrassed Joe more.
You're just gonna hear me say truth. I stand by everything. Truth.
Yeah, I agree with what Joe just said. The end
it's so good.
Tom P, the end of that was just going to be the show meant so much to us and it turned to shit regardless of when it turned to shit. I found y'all and you sounded, thank you for that. It's the show did kind of turn to shit. It didn't matter exactly when it turned to shit, but it ended up dying as a slow fart turd instead of anything beautiful.
And the thing is that's not just me and you or some of the fans in the chat here saying that. Like, it is known, right? Like, that shit is what? How many millions of viewers,
Joe,
at its peak? Like he was saying,
and it's down to like a million.
Cultural phenomenon in the area of Atlanta. plummeted for now a couple of seasons down to the 1 point whatever million.
Yeah.
But like that just shows you like the show fell off for not just us, for lots and lots of fucking people. Lots and lots who thought it was a great show.
And there are still people that still like the show, but those numbers are far lower.
Yep.
So let's continue here a little bit with this recap. Daryl's giving Judith blood because, you know, he can. Merle used to sell his blood and he knows stuff. They hear some shit and Carol and the group head for the investigation and Judith is passed out. Mercer's in jail, Walker's yelling at him, and it's weird not seeing him in his red as they blow open his cell, and it's his sister and princess, and there's more crying, Joe. There's more fucking crying.
Yes, because people like to cry when other people are crying. I see people cry, and if it doesn't look real, man, it just makes me really annoyed at the worst thing you can do is have people who can't cry on fucking film. It looks bad,
especially when it doesn't work. Oh, we got the Walking David in the live chat. Hashtag Joe Red. Walking David says, I got shit to say. David, feel free to pop on in if you want to pop on in, buddy. Same link as before to get on in. I don't think Joe and I, either of us, mind having you pop on in. So jump on in. I held on for 3 seasons just to complain on the Fill the Issues Guys show. Perfect.
Jump the way.
That's the point. Mercer's in jail. Walker's yelling at him. It's weird seeing him. Off to Maggie and Negan and some shit talk about them working together.
Oh my God. How many times we got to listen to them? Why? Just forgive me? No,
I can't forgive you.
But I saved your little boy. No, never.
But I can't forgive you, Joe.
How many times? Maggie, kill him, and then you don't have to live with the hate anymore. Fucking shoot him right now.
No, but they need to have a spinoff.
Rick's will be damned. Carl's will be damned. That motherfucker baseball batted your husband's baby's daddy's head in front of you while you were carrying his child.
He smiled.
Abraham's head.
He smiled.
Raped and murdered and killed how many of fucking Ezekiel's people? Nobody's gonna fucking care. Just do it. Just like Daryl, walk up behind the fucking blonde chick and knife her in the back of the fucking head in front of the whole fucking town. Let them all know. What's up, David?
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me okay?
Yep. Wait one second. Let me move. I'm moving this shit. Wait. There we go. I gotta move you in. Oh, there we go. Oh, let me move you guys. Oh yeah. There we go. Oh, you guys are close. I love when you guys are this close. Oh yeah, there we go. We got David and Joe. They're so close.
Oh wait, come back here.
Oh yeah, touch it. Oh, there you go. There you guys are.
Kisses.
There we go. We got David and Joe together at last. Walking David, welcome to the stream. What are some of your thoughts on this finale? Joe and I have been babbling for almost 2 hours here. David, I know you said you just finished. You got some stuff to say. Let's turn the show over to David for a little bit here. David, what's going on, buddy?
Well, as you can imagine, I am completely satisfied.
It was
with how that ended. So perfect.
The show brought you to completion.
It brought me to completion.
I'm completed.
It brought me to completion, and it just kept sucking after I was done.
It finished me off. Yeah, exactly. It didn't stop. It did not stop until
it didn't stop.
No tongues. Exactly, like Luna says in the live chat. No tongues. It was.
Oh, dude, this. I am so upset. I'm so upset.
But Rick came back, David. Rick came back.
I was wrong. I said he wasn't coming back.
Yeah, you were.
Well, and that doesn't even feel like he did. I mean, like that feels like we had footage of him from a different movie.
Yes, it did. It felt exactly like that. Like they filmed that shit the week after he got taken by the helicopter or some shit. Or it was filmed for like Michonne's leaving episode or found the phone episode or some shit.
Yeah, and the framing is like this because they had to put the wig on that looked like his old wet hair or whatever. It's
And what was with all the shaky cam? Like I feel like I've come out here and argued with Joe that in general the filmmaking has been up to snuff, but there was times in this episode where what was going on screen was illegible. It was like watching somebody doing like a kid writing their essay at the last minute, and certain scenes just didn't go together. We got like a voiceover with walkie-talkies where action was happening. It had no reflection to what they were saying on screen, and then they randomly had the whole trailer at the end of the episode, and then they cut back to the Judas scene to say, yes, we are all together. It was like, was that a trailer, or was that part of the episode at the end there? What was that supposed to be? I just got so confused by so much tonight, David. So confused.
Yeah, this is like what I said, man. And now it probably makes way more sense now that Joe's caught up with this shit. It's like they painted themselves into multiple corners and they didn't know where to go. And the only people of any consequence, like nobody of consequence died. It's like, I applaud you for even daring to kill a minor character that you just reintroduced like last episode, who's been gone for 3 years. But
Yep. It was
what a bold! Wow, you really got something to say, don't you?
Yeah, and Rosita.
They didn't want to kill any, so they probably polled an audience somewhere and was like, "Who's the least likable or least liked?" And we're like, "All right, these two go for this episode," and Rosita, because you don't want to kill off too many of people's liked characters, because then you have a whole bunch of fans going, "Well, that sucked. I didn't like that. So and so died."
Yeah, but fuck me, man. You know, it's the also, just to skip to it because it drove me insane, and I literally just
no skip around. It doesn't matter.
The choppy narration style of everybody talking and like completing each other's sentences and
sentences.
Atrocious.
Atrocious.
It literally sounded like Rick was recorded on a phone from London, like because he didn't want to leave his house, and then Michonne or whatever was in the studio one day when she filmed her cool little samurai close-up or whatever the hell she did, and then everybody else, it was like, hey, really quick before you guys go and fill out your Exhibit G on your SAG forms or whatever, would you mind just saying we're the ones who live really quick so that we can throw it in haphazardly later, you know, like, and it was.
And do this multiple ad. I said it, and I was repeating your last word just to do that because that's what they're doing, and it reminds me of this CW commercial thing that they did where we are the CW, or some shit like that. It was really horrible.
You know what that shit reminds me of? It reminds me of that really cringe-inducing shit where celebrities sing like "We Are the World" or whatever, like in small. Or like Imagine, they sang Imagine during COVID, like, and everybody was like, "Oh, stop it!" Like, that's what it felt like. I was like, "Oh, don't do this!" Like this.
No tongues. And let's see. Let's change the mood here for a second. Area code 910 says, "What is your favorite scene ever from The Walking Dead?" Mine would be when Judith shot Negan off his motorcycle. Joe, what's the first one that comes to mind when say your favorite scene from The Walking Dead? I would say,
this is going way back.
Yeah, no, go.
Season 1, little girl at the gas station when Rick first gets out of the hospital. Going for her little doll or whatever, or just walking through the cars. Forget exactly, but I remember really liking that a lot.
David?
Yeah, I'd say that was it.
David, do you have one?
Yeah, well, Joe's is iconic. I mean, yeah, that's a good pick. I like the imagery of that is fresh in my head always. But my favorite scene or moment in the show was when Rick bit the throat out.
Oh yeah.
Of Joe.
Oh yeah.
He went full Walker and like animal in it. Like I was here for it. I was really, really into it.
David, yeah, and that was like
second best scene. Second best scene.
And that was like a moment where you felt like you were watching an edgy kind of. You're like, what the fuck am I watching here?
Close third is What? Bloody Rick with the samurai sword chopping a rapey doctor in half, abusing doctor in half.
I'm going to go a little lighter just to say, because comedy and lightness and levity was important to me watching a show like this. So I think at the beginning, the episode where Glenn's in the car driving at the end of the episode going, yeah, screaming while he's driving. It's just sort of a joyful moment to show that.
With the alarm going off.
Yeah, and he's just driving like, fuck yeah. There was just something about the introduction in general of Glenn when Rick first meets him in the Guts episode. So I think just in general, the introduction of, even though he's not necessarily my favorite character, at the beginning, he added that different dynamic that this wasn't going to be the standard fare. Like he had just more human personality, and that kind of grabbed me watching the series for the first time. So I guess that's a different answer to the question, but that's the one that jumped out to me. Ian says season 1, the first 2 minutes before even the credits opened. Skyrim says when Glenn got his brains bashed out. I haven't even watched since Joe and Phil agreed to quit the show. We did agree to quit the show a while back, but then they announced the last season and we came back.
Now I wish I did, like ages ago.
Right.
I wish I had hopped on the Joe bandwagon, because like Joe and I, you guys, if you go back, I mean, you can find some of my old appearances on my YouTube channel, like in a playlist, and it's like Joe and I disagreeing on something, and it's like Joe just going, "This, fucking sucks, dude," and me just going like, "I don't know, maybe it's got something," and you're like, "No, fucking sucks. I know it. It just sucks." And like now I look back and I go, "Wow, he was like prescient. Like, how did I not see it?" Like,
yeah, and it's the Joe's it's the Joe's always right thing again. Maybe Rosita was hoping the Marvel people would notice her superhero fighting Spider-Man jumping climbing skills and jumping up. And again,
she grabbed the pole. She had the baby on her.
And then she did, I keep saying different things. She did like the Thor Hulk like psh, bash, and all the walkers just spread in an even circle around her, bash around her like it was a comic book. And I know it's based on a comic book, but we haven't seen things like that before. And she didn't have a weapon or anything. What did she hit all those walkers with? She did that all with her fists. She knocked.
Yeah, she came up and she did a Mjolnir, like a Thor, like called lightning to her staff, like He-Man or something, like, I have the power, and then just blasted through 15 walkers, and they all went flying back. Like they didn't just kind of shuffle backwards or fall backwards. They exploded off of her.
It was
a moment of pure plot.
It was pretty awful. Okay, let's listen to this voicemail right here. It's from last week, but let's hear what they have to say.
Oh, for you, what do you hope to see in the final Walking Dead? You think Rick Grimes come back?
Do you think Rick Grimes comes back? Rick Grimes came back. What did you guys think of Rick Grimes coming back?
I don't think he did.
Yeah, that doesn't feel like a hologram to me.
Yeah.
He didn't talk to a single character.
None.
No, he did. Even Michonne in the moment, he didn't talk to her either. Here's another message.
Hi, Phil and Joe. I was wondering, what's the next show that you two together are going to be covering?
We already talked about that. It's going to be The Last of Us. And let's listen to this one.
Hey, dude, I really loved when Negan was like, what the fuck? That was really funny. Like, did you like Negan in this episode? Why is Negan so awesome all the fucking time?
So why is Negan?
Who the fuck is that? Who was that?
Why is Negan awesome all the fucking time?
Awesome all the fucking time, man.
I love it.
Krusty the Clown is on the phone.
Negan's awesome all the fucking time because I am Negan.
Negan is great. And last but not least,
dude, this is some fucking review, and I was wondering, The Walking Dead, it's over now. Are you going to be covering
these fucking spin-off series, dude. I'm sitting there smoking my fucking Marlboros and drinking my fucking Bud Light.
Okay, so are we covering this?
Who was that?
Okay. Okay. I'll admit those last 5 messages were me from last week. Leaving those are all me. Those are all
That
me.
was you?
Those are all me.
Yeah, I know there was something fishy with that woman that was.
About to say,
those are all me.
Oh, nah, it's me from Revere.
I had no clue.
Joe, I left all of those because Joe and I last week. Joe had a family emergency, so we didn't do a show last week, and I was gonna go to the casino on Sunday night, so we were gonna pre-record a show and play it live and fake being live, and those were going to be the calls to pretend we got live calls. So I left some fake calls.
Dude,
I'm a fucking Revere, dude. Oh, Phil. Sorry. Would you guys mind doing a Godfather show? I would love to do a stream about the Godfather. I would absolutely do that. 100%.
You don't want me
to. Joe won't be there, but I'll do it.
Yeah, you don't want me to do that.
Joe, like, I'm bored.
Listen,
it's too dark.
Who was it? Which sitcom character was it that said the thing about The Godfather insists upon itself? Was it Peter Griffin?
Oh, whatever. Okay. Who would win? Who would win in a fight between Eugene and Stinkray? Stinkray would kick his ass because he's trained in the way of the fist. Stinkray would.
Dude, I don't know. Eugene went up that pole pretty fucking quick.
He's got Spider-Man powers.
Champ.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The dumbest logic in the world to get Rosita to fall is, I'll go up after you. It's like, you have a motherfucking baby on your person.
Right?
I'll be
right?
okay.
Like what? Like
why would we entertain that at all? Like,
right. Send the weakest person with the least skill to go first. So if he falls on top of the 2 people, climbing up underneath him, including the baby.
And I thought that was going to happen, and I literally said out loud, I go, if Eugene falls and knocks both of them down and they all die, I'll applaud this show. If all 4 of those characters die.
David,
nice.
and that
It would have been good if Rosita and the baby got eaten underneath Gabriel watching, just to be a good fuck you for him turning his flock away. His baby and the baby mama get eaten while he's trying to actually get them into a building from safety, running from walkers.
Yeah,
David. Yeah, David, you treaded on it. There's so many Joe. There's so many possibilities that this show has had to do dramatic stuff in a good way. They had a whole horde, and Joe, I was talking about this when you walked away, and whether you agree or disagree, they were able to do something surprising in this episode to me and make the horde at a point seem dangerous, like that any of those characters could have died at any point. And again, they sucked it out and sucked away any of the possibility and made no one we really care about except for Balls of Fury guy and Rosita getting bit after a superhero landing, after like a Deadpool superhero landing kind of moment, or destroy foot soldiers kind of thing. But if they had made that a complete bloodbath and so many of our characters, only plot armor Daryl and Carol and Ezekiel and Eugene or whatever, a handful of our characters make it out, I think the 3 of us would be out here saying, we got to give it to them. They had some balls in that scene and actually went for it. And in an episode like this, when all those characters aren't in spinoffs, I thought that they were going to do that. This is why I'm more disappointed than expecting shit. I went into this episode expecting that all of the Muppet, the Saved by the Bell, the new class people, Yuki and Magma and like all of them would all end up dead. Because why not?
They should have. Why didn't they?
Like Red Wedding, kill everybody.
They don't want to end it for the fans of those characters by pissing in their mouths. They wanted to make as many people happy as possible.
They wanted a schmaltz fest.
But in order to do that, you have to kill someone with at least a little bit of fan, and that's Rosita.
David?
Because everybody else had plot armor.
Yeah, but fuck that, dude. Because it's like, listen, man, sincerely, if you're like a fan of Magna, then fuck you. Because, like, you don't have enough brain cells to start a fire if you rub them together. Like, she wasn't on the show for like the last 2 years. She literally stopped talking. I mean, all of it's pointless. Yeah. Lydia, pointless. I don't even remember the black guy with the knives name.
Ninja.
He didn't even use the knife.
Ninja.
He didn't use the knife in the last season. He took off the mask. He never used the knife again.
I know it. Right. Wait. It's. I know it because it's the Elijah. Elijah is his name.
Elijah. There you go. Elijah. It's something sounded.
It's I knew it was a prophet's name. It was a fucking prophet's name. And by the way, everyone, you want to get your thoughts in. You think one of us is full of shit? You want to call us a task? You want to send us some love? Send off The Walking Dead in your way. Please do it at 781-990-8509. We're still gonna break.
I think we're done with the scene by scene thing right now.
Dude, let's put it this way, people. I mean this sincerely.
Is there anything else about this episode we want to talk about? Let's just break.
We've already talked about every scene.
Pretty much.
I missed a lot of your shit, so I have no idea what to talk
Good
about.
For you.
Bring up anything you want, David.
Okay, I'll do a quick sift. Let's work backwards here. That narration thing, fucking terrible. Rosita dying, way too much focus on Rosita in the final episode.
Yeah, the tension is definitely built up. Shaky cam throughout. I said walkers are breaking through the hospital glass, hordes and hordes, but no death. We see so many of these walkers now. They just, I guess the evolution of the walkers, they don't bite. They just go rah, 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 right in front of you, and they don't like to actually bite.
Or reach their hand through a gate to grab you.
No, they don't do that. The gate stops them. It's magic.
Mercer should have arrested Pamela, and they shoot her anyway. And they all turn around and wonder who did it, and then Maggie and them just run off. She's like, my mission's complete here. I'm going to grab my shit and go. But that didn't happen. They thought, once again, this episode is the definition of half measures, because it's like they wanted to give Pamela that Carol death, because doesn't Carol in the comics like feed herself to like a group of walkers, welcomes it?
Tyrese blew someone.
Yeah, some shit like that.
Or when Andrea blew Tyrese.
Well, I know there's somebody offers themselves.
No, Michonne blows Tyrese. And that gets Carol pissed off because she was in love with Tyrese. And so she goes and kills herself in front of her daughter, Sophia, by walking into a walker that they had chained in the middle of the prison.
There you go. See? Joe knows. But it's like, that's what they clearly were trying to go for. Like, she's going to feed herself to Lance. And, of course, I knew that Lance was going to show up as a walker. I knew that they were going to come face to face because, of course, this show cannot help the fact that even though zombies wander aimlessly, somehow they don't wander aimlessly.
Yeah, he ended up in front
wherever the plot goes.
Yeah, thank God he just ended up in front. He just happened.
Yeah, like Maggie a couple episodes ago had that kid walker that like comes out and it looks like they didn't even do good makeup on it. Like
she tries to cry on Carol's shoulder about the shit. Fuck you, bitch! I killed a living little girl.
Yeah, two.
Yeah. Look at the fucking flowers, motherfucker. Nonfiction in the live chat says Aaron trying to get emotional. Sometimes you can feel your ghost limb. Lydia, cool story, bro. Wait,
who's the second little girl? No, one little girl killed the other little girl.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then she had.
Were you talking about her daughter? She got her daughter.
Okay,
killed?
that we were talking about favorite scenes. That I remember specifically that night talking about that episode, that happening, and then I was in Puerto Rico at the time, and Joe, Katie, and I did a stream after the Carol Look at the Flowers episode. I remember that being real. Again, one of those moments where you're like, I'm watching a series with balls. And I think more than the writing being bad, and we can trash the writing, and we are tonight, and we're going to trash, and I've trashed the production of this particular episode. The biggest problem with The Walking Dead from a certain point on was it's losing its teeth. Yep. It lost its ability to shock you and make you care about the characters it's going to destroy. It became obvious when they're going to send off characters, and they do them in this over-indulgent, schmaltzy way. It started with Tyrese, where you could just, for one reason, he's just looking at pictures and not watching his back, and he doesn't hear a walker walking up on him. The Carl dies for half an episode. And then tonight with this, there was a Beth thing with this too. Like, what was amazing about The Walking Dead and what grabbed people wasn't the deep stories. It was the characters, falling in love with characters, well fleshed out characters that could die and disappear at any time. You can never lose that aspect of a show. You constantly have to introduce new interesting characters and destroy and eliminate characters people care about in epic, shocking ways. And this show forgot about doing that. It forgot about shocking people. And well, there's a lot of Joe on the screen right now.
Yeah, there's too much Joe on the screen.
We get double the Joe, double the fun right there. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. So yeah, I think more than anything, The Walking Dead lost its teeth more than it lost anything else. I played the Blue Toothbrush song. It was catchy tune. Which song? I'll definitely play any song. I'm not sure what song you're talking about. Timothy says, I remember there being a whole Facebook, Instagram page dedicated to sneaking on the set just to spoil the Spoiling Dead, which ended up being the T-something S Army. People cared that much about spoiling who was going to die next on The Walking Dead because it was an exciting kind of feeling.
Yeah, okay, really quick on that note. Seriously, Walking Dead fan base, if you're one of these people who spoiled at any point in the show a death, you are the people who ruined this show.
Yeah.
You're the people that made it feel like they couldn't kill anybody because you were going to blab about it tomorrow, and they go, you know what, we have to subvert expectations and we have to kill somebody meaningless. And it's because of you guys.
David, I would say the same thing about those people that like camped out on Game of Thrones sets and like took the pictures and tried to leak the scripts and the plots of the seasons. And I don't hate on anyone on YouTube or any podcaster that reports on it. I'm talking about the people that actually do the leaking. It screws up the storytelling because then the creators are like, oh, we got to subvert the expectations and do it really weird.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't care if you report on it because then it's my fault if I look at your reports or whatever. But people who go into things and try to just drop spoilers and dip out really quick and all that stuff, I mean, like, you're ruining every show that's out there. You're going to make worse and worse television for yourself if you keep spoiling every single show.
Yep.
Shows used to be memorable and shows used to be good because there weren't a bunch of internet douche nozzles fucking leaking spoilers about every single show. The Sopranos would have been fucking ruined, okay, if it came out today.
Yep.
It would have been ruined.
People would have been
dropped. A whole season would have been dropped in one day, and then two shitbags would have skimmed fast forward through it to see what happened and who died, and they would have leaked the whole thing, and it would have been a whimper of an ending.
Silvio gets shot. The fucking stupid. Igor says, remember it being said at one point that they purposely cut down on the gore after what's his name got his face ripped off in the revolving doors. I haven't watched the finale yet, says Tom. If they didn't kill all the characters, what are they going to do with all these characters? Just leave them with no closing arcs? And Igor says, I agree with that, David. I know I'm going to skip through the play-by-play, Joe, but we go, Mercer gets his costume back. It's Ezekiel and Mercer get some foreplay for them taking over town later. We get some doctor technobabble when Judith finally gets the doctor, and it's like, okay, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. You got a little girl got shot in the shoulder. She's just gonna be fine. She's fine. And then Aaron and Lydia have a bonding lost arm session. David, when you watch shows like this, how hard are you on kid actors? I'm pretty hard on kid actors, and I think she did a decent enough job in some of the more funny stuff, but when they gave her more heavy stuff, I feel like she fell with the weight of it a little bit.
Who did? Judith?
Judith. Yeah, what are your opinions on Judith as a little actress?
She will grow up to be a fine actor, but she I don't know, for whatever reason, it just felt like they were giving her what they would call like a line reading, where the director stands right behind the camera guy and goes, okay, give me one of these.
Yep.
So they'll go, okay, give me sad, give me teary-eyed, because I guarantee you she can cry on cue. You know, these little kid actors are so traumatized, they can always cry on cue. I mean, they really can. Like Macaulay Culkin, all of them can turn on the waterworks really easily, except for RJ, because he's some producer's kid who shouldn't be anywhere near this show. But
I'm on set.
Kid actors are judged the same way regular actors are judged, because there are kid actors who are the stars of 1970s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010 movies and TV shows that are incredible.
Yep.
Absolutely incredible. Full House was made by the Olsen twins or whatever, or whichever one was in that. Home Alone.
We'd say Macaulay Culkin killed it in all of his early movie roles.
Yeah, Richie. I mean, he did dozens of movies.
The Good Son.
Was a star.
Yeah, The Good Son.
And it's completely possible. There's nothing that special about him. The difference is that some kids want to do it, and other kids' parents want the kid to do it.
Elijah Wood's another example. He was always amazing. Someone says Blue Toothbrush. I don't know, Blue Toothbrush song. Let me see if I can find this. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so Luke dies, blah, 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 blah. It's a real downer. Aaron is agreeing, and it's a weird shift where Carol is there. There was this scene where we have Aaron and talking in a scene, and they're like focusing. It's just one of these weird things that on television you don't often see this, and it didn't work for me. They did like a pan out to the left of the scene, and Carol's sitting in the back, and like two characters were having a scene, and Carol's just in the back like chopping up meat or whatever the fuck she was doing. And they did that a couple of times where they had like the main characters in the background while you had the lesser characters in the foreground having a scene and just being like, I don't really give a shit what's going on. Maggie says, where's Negan? And then Maggie and Negan have yet another conversation where one of them's gonna go and shoot, which all amounted to nothing. Maggie and I feel weird talking about this because Maggie and Negan stuff.
If none of that was in the story, none of it would have mattered, because anybody else could have shot the fucking idiot at the fence.
Yeah, it was a nothing burger, and no one actually shot anybody, so it ended up just being bullshit.
Yeah, she shot a zombie, and that's it.
Eugene and his girlfriend wake up from a nap, and we get Rosita and Eugene scene. Thank God for this. And she got bit because we need a Eugene emotional scene and more crying, and they love each other. Go fuck off.
I'll say this. I know this is going to bother you guys, but the one thing I'll give him credit for is Josh McDermott, who plays Eugene Porter, in the scene where he has it with Rosita, and his stuff with Rosita in this episode was way more realistic and subtle than the prior episodes where he's tried to be upset. Like even when he was like looking for Max and he's like, I'll need to ascertain her safety. You know, like that part, like I didn't buy any of that, but I bought this a little bit more. And it's probably because these actors actually have a history of being on this show together for 8 years, and they were told that this is their last scene. So there probably is some real emotion there.
Yep.
You know,
I'm with you. He was played down a little bit in this episode.
Yeah. It's more grounded because in real life, when you're getting upset, you guys already probably talked about this, but when you're really upset, most people don't cry. They do everything in their power to not cry. Okay. For everybody to cry, it's unrealistic. Okay. So, it would be the same thing. It's like when you see someone fire a gun in broad daylight, you shouldn't see every muzzle flash, because a muzzle flash is what you see when it's dark. It's not like every single shot is going to have a major muzzle flash. So the same thing goes with like.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're good. I thought you were going to play.
Someone wants me to play the Blue Toothbrush song.
You can order DVDs and more from our website.
It's a giant beaver. So, sorry. People want me to play a Blue Toothbrush song. I'm like, what the fuck is a Blue Toothbrush song? Here we go. Oh, it's a Brush Your Teeth song. Oh my God, I'm not gonna play that. I'll get flagged.
Yeah, that's the reason you shouldn't play it. Not because it's dumb as fuck.
No, both reasons. So Daryl's looking at Judith, and Carol's there too. She wakes up. Hey, little ass kicker. Hey, big ass kicker. Also, this is post. We talked about this earlier. Daryl just straps up his blood because I just realized that my blood is that Merle used to sell my blood, and my blood's good for everybody. So I'm gonna. This has never been relevant in the series yet, but it's gonna be relevant now. Like what the fuck?
You know what would have happened? You know how you make that relevant is Daryl, he worked as a soldier in the Commonwealth. They take his blood as a sample, and they have a file that they look up what his blood type is, and it matches. That's all you had to do.
Right, because they were in the hospital, and they're like looking around for some blood or something, and then they find, oh, I'm a...
How about when Carl was shot?
Yeah,
did it come up then?
No, he didn't.
They needed to go get fucking pumps and transfusion shit for Carl or whatever.
My blood didn't matter then, Joe. It didn't matter. Didn't fucking matter. It didn't fucking matter then. It wasn't relevant to the fucking plot then. Mercer lets them go, but Zeke is there. He's like, blah, blah, whatever. So Pam has the gates closed, not letting people in. Joe and I already talked about the scene at length, but just to get into it again, this was one of the most cheesily, stupidly shot scenes that I've ever seen in my life. With the gate, with the people holding out at the gate, banging, let us in. And then they flashed over to the zombies all walking at perfect pace. Like
by the hand.
Like like in a straight line, like coming closer and closer and closer like a fog. And then to Pamela's face, like, no, we're not letting them in. To who was it? Gabriel walking up and going, I have to let these people in. Let these people
Shoot
in.
Him, stop him, arrest him.
It was so bad. It was like what I mentioned this before. It was like watching some film, like a bunch of teenagers shooting a film in their backyard, and just like the quick cuts and and I'm sorry because I don't usually comment on stuff like this because you should never notice editing. If you ever notice editing, it's not good. And I noticed the editing. It was slow or it was fast. I don't know which it was, but the way they were doing it back and forth made it extra cheesy and to the point where it wasn't building tension. It was just building humor. I just started laughing. I was like, oh my God, this is fucking comical. Exactly. Like I heard the Benny Hill music in the background while it was happening.
Well, also, man, this is little things, but as an actor and a filmmaker, it drives me nuts. There's a horde of zombies walking towards these people. They've never even fought them as far as we can tell, except for a handful of our merry men who are in the crowd who we don't even see until we do. They're not trying to fight them off or anything. They're just like amongst the crowd going, let us in. But those people are screaming like they're trying not to wake the neighbors or something. Like that. Very weird. Like it's soft. They're not screaming for their life. They're not that panicked. They're kind of like, Pamela, will you fucking let us in?
What are you doing? Let us in.
Pamela, like,
come on,
I
let us in.
voted for you on Bill 801. What the hell, Pamela? Like, they're just yelling as if they're at a protest, not as if their life.
Not even at a protest. You've been to some weak protests.
Yeah, pretty weak ass protests. Yeah.
Like I'm mad at you outside of your house.
Yeah.
I just showed up and I go, hey, stop fucking with my mail. Like
your dog's been pooping on my lawn. Like
right, your dog's been shitting on my lawn.
And this all culminates with what I assume, and again, comic book people will have to tell me about this Daryl speech about we're on The Walking Dead or whatever. Was this a Rick thing that they just had to give to Daryl? This was the stupidest speech, and it came out of nowhere. It's out of character for Daryl too. Daryl's not the guy that's going to come up and give a big speech like that. And it didn't come off like, finally Daryl opens his mouth so everyone cares. No, it just came off as stupid, like a forced line. Like they had to put this thing in, and people that would listen to comics, is this just a Rick speech that they gave to Daryl that they needed to put in with this, we're not the Walking Dead. It just was, it seemed real. And that convinced everybody that Daryl speech is what, when has a speech in the history of the universe of anybody in reality ever convinced anybody against their belief structure? All those people that were on Pamela's side. No, it was that Daryl speech that finally put them over the edge. Watching all those people from town crying and like, whatever. Sorry guys. Yeah.
It should have been as simple as when she just goes, if I open those gates, then the dead will get in. And then Daryl just goes, we are the Walking Dead. You know what I mean? Like, and he just like says it in her face like that. And then like shoves her and just goes, get out of my face. Like, or shoves her into the walkers or something like that.
Instead, it was like, it was his turn for a solo and he was the trumpet player and he stood up and it was like, my time to solo. And he gave a speech like they're doing a staged reading, not really acting in a scene. And he sat up and was like, it's my monologue time. And it's him. We are the Walking Dead. And it was bad.
I had AirPods in my phone was 6 inches from my face watching it on my phone. And I could not understand what he said until he kind of murmured out, we're not the Walking Dead.
Yeah, I didn't understand a bit of it.
He said it while doing this. Like, if this is my camera, he kind of goes, yeah, we're the Walking Dead. Like, he just kind of like says it while dipping out of frame so he doesn't hit the camera guy. It was handled so sloppily.
It was, and again, to go with the out of balls thing, and I just want to throw this to you guys, as Nonfiction said this in the live chat, and I was going to mention this too. If at all the end of all of this, it breaks down, they lay down their guns, the best possible scenario, and the problem I have with this episode, more than anything, is, again, the wasted potential. Okay, you could have had so many more characters die in that horde scene. In this scene right here, exactly what Nonfiction said. If after all of that, you still have Maggie or Negan take that shot and shoot Pamela and say, fuck all of that. Okay, the guards drop down. I don't give a fuck.
Right, they knew what the fucking plan was.
Exactly. Like, why stop the plan right there? They had the shot, shoot Pamela. If they had, at the end of all of that, in a sort of comedical way, after it all stops, everyone settles it, everyone stops after Daryl, and then at the end of the scene to go to commercial break, it's Pamela's head just exploding because Maggie actually takes the fucking shot, we would be like, yeah, The Walking Dead has balls, and went out on a fucking hot note. But no, they can't do that. They have to end it on this, no, her going to jail is worse than me shooting her. No, it's not.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's like, I get that you're trying to, this is like pseudo impactful dialogue where it's like, well, Negan's saying that because Negan was in prison.
Right, exactly. They're trying to be like, it's poetry, it rhymes, but no.
Yeah, that dude, you fucking hit the nail on the head. Fuck what I was gonna say. Yeah, it's like poetry, it rhymes. You know, George Lucas wrote this episode.
Exactly.
Because it's just like, yeah, so Negan was imprisoned, and maybe he could be the one going, that's worse than
oh my god! It's just like, yeah.
Oh my god!
Sorry.
Shout out, Willard.
Yes, exactly.
But it's like, yeah, dude, the hearkening back and, oh, Father Gabriel, because he didn't let his flock, and he's going to open
open the key. Yeah, oh my god.
Like I said, it's pseudo impactful. It's like, yeah, if this was set up properly and not saved for the last episode and the last couple of minutes of this, where you're kind of going, when's Rick going to show up? Because that's what I kept wondering. I go, is Rick going to show up and mow down all these walkers? Is he going to have a gun raised at any point? Is anybody going to shoot anything?
But David, no. As we find out at the end of this episode, after this Daryl speech, everyone's okay. Jerry's okay. He comes out. Remember, we thought that might be the last time we see Jerry, and he had that awesome goodbye line where he's like, where runs out. But no, he was fine in the horde. Elijah's back, and he has the emotional reconnection with Lydia. Pamela walks free in the fence, and the walkers, she sees what's his name, and she goes in, and Judith says something. It's never too late. Maggie's gonna shoot her, and we get this stupid voiceover. It cuts to this Mercer voiceover talking about how they're gonna do something different, and then we see Magna, and then we get the walkie-talkie chatter and the slow motion scenes that they cut to all this sort of stupid crap. And then Joe and I talked about this earlier. What did you find it awkward them using licensed material music twice? Like they used In Living Colors, Cult and Personality, and then Landslide. It just came out of fucking nowhere. It's really weird.
Dude, the song choices on this show in the last few seasons have been fucking atrocious. Atrocious. Absolute shit. One of the worst ones I remember was they were like walking, I think it was in season 8 or something, and they're like walking down the street and they're playing like Burning Down the House, and there's no fire or anything, and it's not even relevant to what they're talking about, and Jerry's like singing it, and they're kind of like, they played almost the entire song Burning Down the House. It made no fucking sense, and it was them trying to like draw a horde away at night, and I just remember it because of how much I disliked it. And you know what? Fuck, man. You couldn't do anything. You couldn't bring back an old song that everybody knows from this show, that everybody adores. Oats in the Water by Ben Howard. Space Junk by, Wang Chung.
Something.
Fucking anything, dude. Imagine if that happened again when we see Rick and the helicopters lowering down and ding 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 ding.
So
like,
our next big scene, Joe, I want to get to you on this scene because we get a beautiful scene between Negan and Maggie where they finally have it out for the 18th time about
stupid. I still don't understand why she hasn't just shot him in the face.
But no, not now. We like.
I don't want to hate anymore. Okay, so shoot him in the face, and then you won't have to hate him anymore. He'll be dead.
How are they going to do a series together? Are they just going to keep this?
It's going to be this back and forth for like 7 episodes straight.
I hate this so much. There is not a chance in fucking hell I'm watching that show.
No, me either. Not even a single episode won't do it.
I'll watch people review it, and they better hate it too.
I wouldn't do that. Nope.
And I can't do it.
And I skipped over the turkey dinner as we have the AMC Hallmark channel. The turkey dinner was weird. They take like 8 hours. Rosita would have turned before that. Yeah, Rosita has her turkey dinner. She hangs out with everybody. It's a great time for everybody. They pay for licensed song Landslide, which again I love the song Landslide. I love the song Cult of Personality, but both of them were way, exactly, David, exactly. Daryl looks at Negan outside. They smile as Negan disappears. He comes back for a voiceover later. Rosita,
don't go chasing waterfalls.
That would have been even better. Or Werewolves of London, maybe, or something. Gabriel and Rosita talk. Gonna remember the moment, something about some shit. Seth Gilliam is a great actor, but even he can't save this shit. Judith has some emotional, they focus on Judith for a second, excuse me, and it looks like the direction that they gave the actress was give a face like you have to take a shit, and Judith was like. She's trying to watch what's happening and they're trying to have her internalize this, and I feel bad for her because they just I don't know what it was like Natalie Portman in the prequel series, like you can just see the actress needing direction and not knowing and not getting anything.
It was the King Viserys at dinner look.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll make sense to people who've seen that. I won't get into it, but
AK finding new exploits to save the characters. Or Gabriel, worst character ever. We got Studio 11 live. Great to see Uncle D in the live chat. One of our long times. Nothing but respect for the diehards. The way you guys stuck it out over the years. But this series poo-pooed all over. It's a lot of poo. It's a lot of poo-poo.
I was with nonfiction.
Carol takes a rose to say bye-bye to Maggie. And look at the flowers, okay, and Rosita dies. We already talked about that. Okay, so after all of that, they dragged out Rosita's death for half the episode because they needed to run out the runtime and they didn't have anything else to do. So instead of killing Rosita in a glorious fashion, in a Klingon death in a pit of walkers, they throwing up her baby to Eugene and making...
They give her a Carl death.
They give her this long extended death to... pad out the episode time. But then we get a 1 year later as the community's back. Eugene has a kid named Rosita, and it's happy times. Ezekiel and Mercer tell a story as it's the new kingdom, and Ezekiel is the governor and Mercer's his lieutenant governor, and it's a cheering and they're drinking. Daryl and what's her name flirt a little bit. Lydia's there with a really horrible, looking fake arm, and Judith's there, and she gets a letter from Negan that returns her compass I didn't remember he gave her. And Carol cut her hair again and looks like old Carol, and they're all having a reunion. It's happy times and hugs, and we get some heavy-handed, very proud of ourselves, more hugs, and Maggie wants to talk about the future, and they need to venture out, and she's going to venture out with Negan, or she's going to bump into Negan. I don't know how it's going to happen. Daryl's leaving. He rides on his bike that's going to magically drive to France, I guess, and he's gone. Daryl gets hugs, and he says goodbye 17,000 times. And then we all go to commercial, and then we come back from commercial, everybody, and we come in on Rick Grimes. Okay, when it first comes in on Rick Grimes, did you think we were actually going to get a scene? For a second, I thought, oh, cool, this looks kind of neat. And then slowly but surely you realize it's a fucking montage. It's a fucking trailer. It's the stupidest part of the fucking episode.
Mm-hmm.
They pad out the time with a CW horrible fucking ending.
Rather than just stay tuned for the trailer.
We got the amazing Jasmine Breaking Bad Walking Dead in the live chat too. Studio 11 says, I can't lie. I love hating on this show together with you guys, even though it fell off years ago. I do too. As much as I'm going to be excited to not talk about it anymore, it takes a lot of years to be able to come here and shit on a show. I won't just watch a shitty show and be like, hey, let's come out here and talk about it. We made that mistake with the Bastard Executioner, Joe. It's like we're not just gonna come out here to shit on this show every week. So having a show that you watch long enough that it becomes shit that you get angry about it, it's gonna be tough to find this again. So in a way, yeah, I am gonna miss talking about this shit show.
I'm not gonna miss talking about this shit show.
I'm not anymore. If it had ended, gosh, man, multiple times, I forgot that this was the finale.
Yeah,
because I kept going like, oh well, they'll wrap this up another time, and then I had to remind myself, oh wait, yeah, it's the end of the road.
It's the end of the road. Did you feel any of that sort of final episode?
Absolutely right, Dave. It was not finale feeling for a show.
They try, and I think that's what they were trying with this big montage at the end, a farewell to the series. They tried to pull off what Scrubs did successfully in their first finale, with JD walking down that hallway and seeing all the characters. And I know they had that sequel series with the new class, but that wanted to be a spin-off series, and they were afraid to make it a spin-off series. But whatever. The Scrubs is one of those series that actually had a good finale, in my finale. And in that moment when he walks down that hallway, they pulled off what The Walking Dead wanted to do here and have this flashback of all the characters, all the moments that you've had throughout the years, and have this big culminating emotional moment with Judith at the end with that one fucking line that she gives that I don't even remember what it was, but she says this one line, we all have a chance, or whatever it is. And then
I love it. Daryl fucking abandons her too, even after.
Yeah, he disappears. He absolutely disappears. So they have a farewell to the series, a preview for the other series. It almost seemed like a trailer. We get a voiceover of Michonne. They're writing a farewell letter to Judith. It looks stupid. We cut to a scene, Michonne with another voiceover. Are we actually going to have the characters talk? No, it's just voiceover after voiceover. Rick is there. Oh, cool. We got Michonne. Is she looking for Rick? I don't know what's going on. Rick is on a beach. Why is Michonne in football pads? No escape for the living. Oh my God, Michonne looks like she just got off set from a Marvel movie. Off to Rick facing a helicopter in the city. Oh my God. Off to Judith and RJ. We get to start over. Everyone gets to live, and then immediately they pull it up. Don't worry, everybody. It's not ending. The Walking Dead universe starts now. What the worst season finale ever. Like, you don't even end things. You can't even let a breath take. Like, imagine, again, why do you announce all these fucking series? If you end your fucking series and you wait a year and then you announce these fucking series, people might be fucking excited about your stupid bullshit. But instead, 3 months before you end your fucking series, you announce that you're going to create a Walking Dead fucking universe. And then immediately at the end of the episode, you can't help but stick your own finger up your own fucking ass and tickle yourself and put a fucking trailer for the Walking Dead universe and then put a graphic up right after before the fucking episode ends. What a bunch of fucking horse shit.
Sorry, guys. Listen, when they say like, leave them wanting more, what they mean is do such a good job that people are clamoring for more. That doesn't mean, hey, don't finish what you initially started and start planning the next thing, just like anybody else that like I get involved with on a film project. I don't work with somebody on another film project until they finish the first one that they started. I'm like, I'm not doing another one until you prove you can finish this one.
Yeah.
Because what if that one sucks? I don't want to do another one with you. So now I have two that suck, and also it's training you to not finish things. Because what makes you think that if this starts going south, if Dead City starts going south, what's going to stop them from making another one? What's going to stop them from just going, oh, well, stay tuned for the next series, the next spinoff of the spinoff.
Let's reboot the Walking Dead universe.
Yeah, and that's another thing, is that this is why The World Beyond I couldn't even indulge it. It's because the World Beyond starts and they go, it's like 15 years into the apocalypse, and these people are living like better lives than I am. You know what I mean? Like currently. And they're just like they have cell phones, and the characters are fat, and they're at like a university, and there's like gay characters, and there's characters with like really ridiculous makeup and shit on, and they go out to learn how to fight zombies, and then they all just slowly get picked off one by one because it's like, yeah, you didn't know how to fight zombies and then you died. It's the most pointless show that's ever existed. And then they go, oh, the first season, that's all that it was. It was just this interpersonal drama about gay character, black actress, death, pointless, lost a foot, lost an arm, lost my interest. Okay. And then the second season, they go, we're going to introduce Jadis into the World Beyond so that we can tease Rick. And then they didn't even say Rick's name in that show. And they said, keep watching. You're going to hear Rick's name. There's a secret drop about Rick. It's like an Easter egg while you're listening. And Jadis goes, I had a guy who I traded once, and it got me this position. And I go, that's it?
Douchebags. That sucks.
Yeah, dude, it's so fucking bad, man.
To change this up a little bit, Luna Cascade has a question in the live chat. We talked a little bit about this earlier, but I don't think David gave this answer. And I'm curious what Joe says. I don't think Joe actually answered the question. Speaking of which show had one of the best finales, in my opinion, 6 Feet Under. I would agree with 6 Feet Under. David and then Joe, what series comes to mind when you think of a great series finale? And I'll also add Star Trek The Next Generation, All Good Things was an amazing series finale. Boardwalk Empire had a pretty good series finale as well. Very conclusive. Deep Space Nine had one. I think all the 3 big Star Treks, I didn't even think even Voyager had a good...
Sense8.
What, Sense8 you said? Let's see. Sitcoms have a tough time. Cheers, I think, was probably the best sitcom series finale. Maybe MASH was also a good series finale.
Yeah, MASH is a good choice. Fuck. I don't know, dude. So many finales just don't do it for me because the show usually just went a little too long. And listen,
it's
a lot
tough.
of finales aren't going to do it for me because if I love the show, I didn't want it to end.
Yeah.
And you have to end it at a time in which I'm either too attached or I want you to stop. There's no winning with a finale, really.
I think another one I want to mention. I think Mad Men has a good series finale for the show that it is. I think Breaking Bad, we talked about earlier. I think Better Call.
Yes, there you go. Thank you.
Better Call Saul also ends in a way that I think is reasonable to the show.
I haven't seen the end of Better Call Saul.
I won't talk about it, but I think it ends strong. Someone says True Blood. Someone says Happy Days. Arby and the Chef have an amazing end. The zombie multiverse. That's because they're Mama's Family had a great ending. Three's Company.
The Newhart Show.
Happy Day. No, Newhart actually did have a pretty good ending with the Wake Up.
The Wake Up, and it's the old.
It's amazing.
My old wife.
It's amazing because other shows tried that, but it doesn't really work. Amanda, I love how they ended it. I truly believe there will be future series in a couple of years. Sopranos and Breaking Bad. Heroes might be one of the worst. Killmonger says, "Hey Phil, thank God for The Last of Us. Everything a show should be based on a great source material at least. Leave It to Beaver had a good series finale." Someone says. So it's tough. I think there's more bad series finales than good series. The Wire has a decent series finale for the show that it is. I mentioned Sons of Anarchy earlier. Some people are high on that one. Some people are low on that one. Sopranos. Okay. Before we end, we're going to start to wrap things up here. But if anyone has any last-minute voicemails, now's the time to call in 781-990-8509. We're going to start to wrap things up. Last-minute comments or questions. I don't even know how this works. I'm just going to try this. There's a new thing called Ask Questions. Any questions? I don't know how this works, so I'm going to try this. It's a new chat feature. I don't know how it works, but start a Q&A. I'm going to start a Q&A. If you guys have any questions, put the questions in the live chat. I don't know how it works. Let's end our poll right now. Our poll is okay. So you guys can leave questions in the questions. If you have any last minute questions, do it. And the poll is, how would you rank the finale? It's kind of mixed. 33% winning is a tear a minute. Really close at 32%.
Like an anal tear?
Anal tear. And we had 361 votes. A lot of
anal
votes.
Tear a minute? A tear a minute?
No, a tear. A tear.
I think you're missing like a decimal.
No,
Joe.
A cry a minute. A cry a minute. Everyone was...
Because you're being penetrated in the anus?
Yeah. Were you crying about something else unrelated to The Walking Dead?
That you're watching The Walking Dead?
You're crying that it's over and you've invested all this time into it?
Yeah, and then we're talking for 3 hours about it afterwards.
Because what are you going to do with your Sunday nights now?
Oh, no. I guess I'll just have to wait for another show to forget about.
Now, how would you rank the finale? At 32%, a giant trailer for other shows. At 22%, a shitload of fuck. And this is the interesting amount. 10% of the 361 people that voted said, truly moving. Shut the fuck up, Phil. So 10% of...
Shitload of fuck that shit.
Shitload of fuck. So if you're one...
I voted a shitload of fuck.
Yeah. Let's...
I shitload of fucked it.
You shitload of fucked it right in its fucking pooper.
Dude, I don't... Sorry to interrupt you. I've just got to say this, guys. My channel name is The Walking David, okay? Nobody wanted this to end better than me. My entire fan base is based around doing Walking Dead impressions.
Yep.
Which
and
you
now,
do fantastically, by the way.
Yeah, you're amazing at.
And, well, and by the way, but what's so disappointing is it's just like, it's not even as bad as Game of Thrones ending, but what I will say is just like with comedy, it is good in comedy. It's better in comedy to get laughs or to get boos. But to get silence is the worst crime you can have while on a stage. And that's what this finale got.
Yes,
was
silence.
Crickets. Silence.
Yep.
Just absolute. That is a thing that I watch.
Yes.
David, I had a
Perfect.
rock.
Well said.
Well, I had a rock band
Bravo.
that we had a saying attributed to it. You may like it, you may hate it, but you won't think it's all right. Because the worst thing, I would rather someone hate something and be passionate about it. The worst thing that's happening right now is Joe's not angry because he's just apathetic about it. It's just whatever. It dies with a whimper. We do have a voicemail. We still have time for more. If anyone else wants to leave a voicemail, 781-990-8509. But this is from area code 773. Our good buddy from 773. Let's hear what you have to say.
Phil, it's me. Calling for the last time tonight since you're going to wrap up. I'm struggling to think about what to say because I haven't watched the show. But here's something I'd like to know. What is something good about The Walking Dead? Name something good from The Walking Dead. And name something bad from, like, Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul or Game of Thrones. Something like that. Something good from something you hate.
Yeah, okay, so Nate...
There you go. All the questions answered.
What was that, Joe? Repeat yourself, Joe.
It is over. Something good about The Walking Dead. Something bad about Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. They ended. What was the question about Game of Thrones?
Yeah, something bad about Game of Thrones.
George R. R. Martin didn't finish the books. Didn't finish writing for the show.
Yeah. So I feel sad here. I feel a little emotional, guys, because as we're wrapping up here, this is we may talk about the sequel series. We may, especially the Rick and Michonne one. That's probably the one I'm most interested in checking out from a quality standpoint. But this is the end of an era. Is there, to add to this person's question, are you at all, has The Walking Dead passed the point of any emotional connection with it. I know I guess it's even more of a question for David. You were hinting at this a second ago. Your channel, your it's going to be tough for you to get away from doing Walking Dead. Do you hope, I guess, is your hope for your own personal success that the Walking Dead universe is a success?
I'm going to not be selfish, and I'm going to say no. My wish is that, in similar fashion to Game of Thrones ending like a pile of shit, and House of the Dragon being a delightful surprise, I wish that for The Walking Dead. I wish that they would actually surprise me, and I hear great things, and I am so tempted by all the great things that I hear to watch what continues. But because as of right now, just like I felt with Game of Thrones, I'm like, there's no fucking way I'm watching any of those.
Right. So David, and I'm going to pop over to Joe here in a second because I can't wait to hear Joe's response to this. Do you think there's a chance that one of these Walking Dead series can do for the Walking Dead franchise what House of the Dragon did for the Game of Thrones franchise and actually give us something good? Is that possible?
Did he freeze or no?
No. No.
Like I don't understand what.
So Joe,
with this Game of
right,
Thrones
Joe.
shit.
Finally, I want to hear it. Sorry to put you on the spot here, but give us some of your thoughts about House of the Dragon because I've been waiting for this. Tell us.
I thought it looked absolutely like trash. Like every single set piece, every single wardrobe piece, everything looked absolutely fake. Things that were metal looked plastic. Things that were supposed to be wood looked plastic. Things that were supposed to be concrete looked plastic. Like the fucking everything looked awful. Everything looked awful. And straight up like everything looked awful. I don't know how much more I can say it. Like whatever was visually stunning about like the first few seasons of Game of Thrones, this absolutely lacked. Bad CGI, bad everything. Bad. I thought it had some pretty awful writing, like scenes that just made no sense, and who the fuck cares? Like, why are we getting even a minute of this young girl talking to some weird fucking creep in some fucking island that nobody knows who this guy is, and nobody's ever going to think about this guy again or this scene, and it plays zero impact on her character or her decisions from that point forward. I think it's when she goes to Dragonstone, she talks to some random fuckface. Like, there was a lot of fucking stupid ass shit like that has no bearing on anything, that they tried to jam down our throats with some sort of character development, of which there was none, until suddenly, 40 years down the road, there's this, evolved queen that we're supposed to be like, somehow over the past, 15 years or 10 years or whatever it is that this jump occurred, shit went down where now she's,
Did you watch it all?
smart.
Did you watch all of it, Joe?
Yes.
So you still watched it all. You still fucking finished it, you fucking asshole. And are you going to watch season 2? No, you're done.
No, done.
Done.
No,
People
not
say
even a little. Just like with so like Lost and Heroes, they at least got season.
So you're comparing
2,
House of
episode
the
1.
you're comparing House of the Dragon with Lost and Heroes.
No, because they at least got episode.
Joe, when you're wrong, you're really
I was
wrong.
excited for those.
Joe,
I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I'm wrong
you're
about the
wrong.
fucking visualness of that show.
Yeah, that show
Bullshit.
looks great.
Bullshit.
It looks fucking
You cannot
great.
say that stuff
No,
looks real.
you can
Go
say the timetable of this shit is weird,
No,
but it
you
looks
know it
good and the
looks
acting is good. And the fuck you. It looks the show looks fucking. You're fucking full of shit.
Bad fucking
Oh,
wig
what the
that
fuck?
they
You're
put on
fucking full of shit on this
everybody's
one.
fucking head.
No, I believe in you.
Every bad wig. Every bad wig.
Okay, I'll buy the bad wigs, but that's beside the point. Okay.
Every fucking piece of scenery set. Fucking.
Do either of you guys? Do either of you guys watch Andor? Because Joe's up his ass on this one. Now, I hear good things about it. But, Joe, okay, if you came out here and was like, okay,
Dude, you want to go show by show? I will do exactly to that show what I do to fucking to The Walking Dead. I guarantee you.
Dude, let's do a rewatch. Let's do a rewatch. I challenge you to come to my house at one point in time, sit down and do a watch. I want to do a live.
I challenge you to show me how 30% of anything that happens in that show has anything to do with anything in the future.
Dude, you're so up your own ass on this one. It's not even fucking fun.
No way. I understand you're a fan, but this was the absolute worst, dude. It was awful. It was bad.
Your opinion on this is the absolute worst.
It was bad. Who are you supposed to? Who are you?
Nobody.
Who are you
That's
for?
not the point. You have to root for somebody on a fucking. None of them. You're rooting for them all to die.
So why? I want to watch. Why? Okay, people love that Succession show too because they just.
Oh, you're gonna hate on Succession too? Oh, now you're digging your own fucking grave. Succession's fucking great,
all
dude.
Piece of shit characters. There's nothing endearing about any of them.
I'm a piece of shit character, but you still talk to me. What the fuck?
There's things that are endearing about you.
Oh my god.
There's nothing endearing about any of these characters except for the fucking king that's decaying.
People like, Joe, did you read Fire and Blood? I don't think Joe read Fire and Blood.
No, I still have it saved on my phone actually. So you sent it to me as a file, remember?
Yep, no, I did. Killmonger says I missed these Joe rants. Damn Joe.
But no, I haven't read it because I wasn't really interested in reading history of the Game of Thrones or this Civil War. None of it was interesting to me. It's like it didn't like they mentioned enough about it in the other books. I didn't need a history of the Targaryens.
Nicholas says, "Oh my, even Succession is under Joe's bus." I stopped fucking listening to what Joe says when he started hating so much on Birdman. He's like Birdman. Fuck you and your hate of Birdman.
More trash movie.
You're
the
trash.
only movie I like. Katie and I really twice. Almost caught up
you and Katie are both fucking wrong on that one.
Fucking awful.
Oh, you're fucking wrong.
Bullshit. Shit, fuck movie.
Cinema Hawk says it'd be
horrible.
Joe is there.
That's a movie. That's a movie where someone thought of that movie after freezing one of their shits that they pulled out of the toilet and ramming it back up their own ass.
To answer your question, Phil, I hope that people just come to my Walking Dead page to get the good content, because I'll write way better TikToks than the show.
Yeah, check out the Walking Dead.
True.
Check out
what someone needs to do is they need to put animate
animate the fuck out of me. I'll do 5 characters. You can pay me 1 salary, but I'll do 5 characters. I'll be your Seth MacFarlane to your Walking Dead animated show, and I'll rule.
Yeah, I'll play the creepy neighbor. It'll be great. Oh my God, Succession is even under Joe's bus. Joe did watch 1 episode of Severance. He's liking it.
Severance, I am liking that.
Yeah. Okay, he can't hate on fucking Severance. He's not that big of a
Severance is good. I really enjoyed watching Severance.
So just to kind of wrap this back up, since we got Joe's dumbass opinions on House of the Dragon, we will get him over here at some point in time to have a live rewatch, and we can go scene by scene to see what Joe's problem is up his ass about this series.
Oh God, it's awful. Sonic, no, Sonic. No.
Yeah, Joe, is there any character in the past 5 years that's worse than Ivar the Boneless?
No.
Ivar the Boneless.
None. Even Negan didn't get there. Negan almost got there, but even Negan didn't get as like.
Joe, do you have?
The actor is just horrible. Like it's like, I feel like they took what's his name from those Can't Kill Yourself, the drunk in rehab, what's his name, with the skateboard, Bam Margera, and like here you play Ivar. Or Ivar, the kid, is doing his
like Sofia Coppola.
It's horrible.
We got a super chat donation from Jasmine Breaking Bad. Says episode 6-9 was more epic than this. This felt like a mid-season finale, and yeah, it didn't feel like a big epic crazy finale of The Walking Dead.
People, the fact that they did this is shame on you, Walking Dead, because the fact that you have done so many time jumps, and the final episode you did a time jump of you only did 1 year, which is kind of dumb. It feels like the only reason you did that was just to have Eugene have a baby.
And so Judith didn't look any older.
Yeah, Judith didn't age. She took
any older. It's like, yeah, but it would have been good if she looked older. Okay, like it would have been fine. But also, it's like, listen, nobody wants a continuation of this story. Nobody wants to see how characters who've been dealing with this world for 15 years deal with this world. Like, it's not interesting anymore. And so, The Last of Us, what's good about it is that we get to start over with a different group of people and see how they handle a different version of a different apocalypse. It's got similarities, but it's very different, and it approaches it in a very interesting and unique way compared to The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
It's very, legally distinct, you know, in terms of its creative development and stuff.
Joe, we have a question for you about House of the Dragon. Joe, did you at least enjoy the foot action? You know, the foot
I
fetish.
thought that was ridiculous. I thought
that
was
was
so
that
stupid.
was really dumb.
You didn't like the foot?
Absolutely fucking stupid, dude. It was so stupid. It was stupid.
In fairness, Phil, you and I both didn't like that either.
No, we didn't. We didn't really love the foot fetish stuff. It's called Fear the Walking Dead. Did you like anything about House of the Dragon, Joe? As we had a texter ask, Joe, did you like anything about House of the Dragon? I'm surprised you didn't like it. Someone said in the text.
No, I didn't. I really didn't like anything about it.
Really?
I thought it was pretty bad from start to go, from go to end, from whatever. It was bad the whole way through. It was bad as what I'm.
He's like, I can't even finish that motherfucking statement.
It's like as bad as my statement. Yeah,
it's as bad as my it's bad as
to go from bad to.
It was bad. What was good about it? Tell me what was good about
I thought the acting was really well done. I thought the cinematography. I thought the music worked well in the series. I thought
Doctor Who sucked.
I thought it was exciting, and I thought they ended every episode on a pretty exciting note. I felt like the stakes felt high in general, and I thought the weaknesses of the series was I didn't necessarily love the time jump.
You know what the worst part about the fucking show was?
What's that?
Not enough titties and only one anal wink.
I mean that was if that's why you watch Game of Thrones.
There you go.
It's high
There's
on the
another
list.
criticism.
It's high on the list.
And only one anal wink.
Okay, so a couple more comments in the live chat. We'll start to wrap this up, and then we'll get into this after show.
True. There was. Go back and watch it. You'll only see one anal wink, Dave.
Yeah, it won't be such a death sentence, Phil, if you and I go back and watch it because we liked it.
It's true. It's true. It wouldn't
for that anal wink.
Yeah. Now, I mean,
it was in one of the brothels. The camera goes right in, straight fucking glory hole in.
That's
I'm serious, man. Right in the beginning, like first episode, second episode.
No, I mean,
how you couldn't? Camera zooms right in on the hole, on the starfish.
Phil and Joe comments on She-Hulk. Did either of you guys watch She-Hulk?
Yes, it was good.
Yeah, I thought it was funny enough. It was harmless, entertaining. I think most of those Marvel Disney Plus series are.
They do a better job with those than they do with.
Yeah, I heard that was bad.
They're whatever. But it's bad if you look at it as something good. If you look at it as just a cheesy sitcom, it's whatever.
That's what it is.
So you're saying like it's so bad it's good?
Yeah,
it's a sitcom.
It's a sitcom.
Teens. It's a CW. It's a CW sitcom.
Okay.
It's like a CW superhero sitcom.
Fair enough. I couldn't have less interest in a She-Hulk show, so I didn't watch it.
Or
but I also don't have Disney Plus.
I didn't like the spoiler alert. I didn't like the Daredevil redesign, but it was good to see him.
Yeah, it was.
So let's start to wrap this up. We'll wrap this up right now. David, and then we'll go to Joe afterwards. David, what's your eulogy here, even though this isn't the end? What's your eulogy for The Walking Dead, if you have one? Or any final words as we're getting it. I mean, this is the last episode. As much as we can just say, I think this is a credit to how not moved any of us are, because I think even though The Walking Dead is shit now, at different points in time, all three of us, The Walking Dead has been an important show. But as it ends tonight, I don't think at least this is the vibe I'm getting. Both of you can correct me. I don't think the three of us, when Better Call Saul ended, I felt really emotional. Even though the Game of Thrones ending was horrible, I had sort of an emotional feeling at the end of that season finale podcast as we ended things. It still felt like the end of an era or an end of a moment. Tonight, I feel like, thank God it's over. But David, what are some of your feelings here at the end of The Walking Dead?
I think we all can agree that I should have been in it.
Yeah, I agree, dude.
Either Rick Grimes or myself. I could have done a lot better.
Much better.
We all could have. Judith could have written a better episode. It's without a doubt. Maybe even RJ. And it is the end of an era. And despite how bad this episode was, we are The Walking Dead.
Much better.
I hope that you follow me and let me profit off this show for as long as I can.
Forever. In perpetuity.
Until I find a better show to do impressions of.
It's going to be.
I'm Rick Grimes, signing off.
And what was your son's name again?
Judith.
No. Was it Carl?
Carl.
There you go. Thank you. Sorry, Sonic. Our channel member was clamoring for Carl. Joe.
I was about to say RJ. That's oh man.
And Judith. And Judith is Shane's kid. Joe, I know we've been through this many times. I know you probably don't have much left in the tank. All your hate is saved for House of the Dragon. And if they fuck up Last of Us, you're saving your hate. Like if Last of Us is bad, you can see his eyes. You see his eyes flare up. If Last of Us sucks, you're going to see Joe explode. I think anyone who loves Joe rants, you need to pray Last of Us sucks.
Oh, don't start praying for that. No, we don't want that.
Joe, if Last of Us sucks, you may have a fucking conniption fit. It may lose it. But Joe, what are some of your final thoughts, good or bad, in some of your memories of The Walking Dead? I mean, The Walking Dead birthed the Joe rant. Realistically, I remember specifically the moment. There was a moment that it was like the first time you drank on a stream and you just lost it. You were pretty reserved up until that point, and then the rants started flowing. Will you look back on The Walking Dead as a happy memory or a wait that you had a beer? So, what are some of your thoughts?
I still look back on it like a happy memory. I when I think of The Walking Dead, I don't think of the dumpster fire it became and my contempt for it. I think of the first few seasons where it was really good. And as far as like my final thought would be just, knife to the back of the head of this shit. Finally. Good riddance.
Knife to the back of the head. Classic. And thank you so much, Joe, for putting up with all of this over the years. And it's been awesome to find David and have David be a part of this too. And this isn't the end. We're going to come back together and talk about this Rick Grimes series when that fucking comes out, at least. I don't know about the Daryl in the fucking Negan and Maggie series, but we'll at least, the three of us will come back together and talk about this Rick Grimes series. Luna Cascade, last moment, guys, last moments for questions, last chance to leave a voicemail, 781-990-8509. Gonna end things right now, but super chat from Luna. Gonna recommend The Last of Us. I'm new to it. Joe, The Last of Us. Do you think this legitimately has a chance to cross over to people that aren't familiar with the video game?
Absolutely.
What's a preview? What's a little tease you can give for people going into this, coming off The Walking Dead? Because I'm not saying because it isn't zombies, right? But it is a survival horror kind of show.
Yeah.
What's a little tease you can give for people going into this series? What's the selling point of it?
If they do it right, if they can manage to hit the right notes, like they do in a lot of parts of this game, be prepared to have someone that you want to hold tight next to you on the couch, both for your tears and for your fears.
Interesting. Okay. So we're going to have a fun time talking about the series. David, you're obviously invited to come back. David, if people want to find more of you, we talked about your TikTok tonight, but we got a last minute voicemail, but we'll get into that in a second. David, where can people find more of you?
Well, as you can see, The Walking David on YouTube, on TikTok, I'm The Walking David. You can type that in, or you can type in David K. Grayson, K as in kite, and Grayson, Greyson. And you can keep up with my acting stuff on Instagram, Mr. David Grayson. People, definitely come and check out the TikTok stuff or YouTube, because I'm going to start trying to transfer that stuff over to YouTube gradually.
And make sure you support David in all his acting endeavors, because if you ever want to see Joe and I pop up in a cameo in a big movie, we have to depend on David's success.
David to get us there.
Exactly, because David's the last person that I know that if he gets that success, I'll call him. Give me that fucking cameo in your fucking movie, asshole.
Even in the small ones, I'll have Phil the Issues guy with Phil and Joe playing in the background as a character, just like watching a podcast.
Exactly. So we got one more call from our buddy from 773. Let's listen to this.
Hey, it's me once again. I was going to call my last time, but this time it's going to be my last time. This is something I was thinking about right now. Rick's last name. I haven't seen the show in forever, and I kind of forgot what it was. What was it again? Was it Grimes or was it Friendly? I'm trying to, because I could have sworn it was Friendly at first. Then
no, Friendly is the name of Dennis Leary's character in Demolition Man. It's Rick Grimes, grimy, fucking grimy motherfucker. He's a grimy motherfucker. So, Joe...
I think Merle calls him Officer Friendly.
Yeah, Merle calls him.
Oh, does he call him Officer Friendly? So, everyone, thank you so much for all the years supporting us during these Walking Dead discussions. We really do appreciate it. Keep the comments coming. Keep the discussions coming. This won't be the last time we talk about The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead's not going anywhere, so we will come back. That kind of defeats some of the emotional moments. What The Walking Dead will mean to me is really the first show I did with Joe. I mean, when this channel first started, I obviously I had my stupid radio show, but then I did the Breaking Bad recaps, but then I started talking about The Walking Dead, and then Joe joined me on my second broadcast of that, and most of the beginning of us doing this stupid channel, Joe, was us talking about The Walking Dead when it was good. And most of the early success that we had and a lot of the subscriber base that we built was on The Walking Dead being successful and being a good show. And then it's amazing to kind of go through that roller coaster of the show becoming absolute shit and ending it here in a gigantic whimper. I appreciate every single one of you guys that joined us tonight and joined us along the way in The Walking Dead adventure. Obviously, we will be back with more different shows. I don't know the next show I'll be talking about on the channel. I'll probably, because The Last of Us doesn't start till January, and I'll definitely be doing other stuff on the channel before January. I've been watching the show Peripheral, which is pretty good on Amazon. But I don't know if I necessarily want to talk about that, but maybe we might get into some old school stuff, get back to The Sopranos for a little bit and do an Oz cast or a movie cast. Maybe it's time for David and I to do Back to the Future too, or The Godfather. As I mentioned, I want to get, maybe Joe and I will do an end of the year cast like we used to do, where we talk about some of our favorite shows at the end of the year and all that stuff as we lead into The Last of Us in January. So now it's time to play catch-up time, but make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you follow us here on Phil the Issues Guy for all sorts of nonsense, and also follow all my good buddies, Bridge 4, Teflon TV, Preston Jacobs, Red Team Review, all the other places that I pop up sometimes as well. So Monk Monty says, it's been great, Phil. Been here since 2015. Thank you for the good times. It's been an honor, Phil, for your streams. Found this because of the Better Call Saul discussions. Those were amazing. The Summer of Saul was incredible. Thousands of people in the live chat. Lots of fun. Hopefully we will get back to another show that's that big and exciting. But for now, everybody, it's been a pleasure and an honor to talk about The Walking Dead and shit on this fucking show. There'll be more Joe rants in the future. There'll be more Rick Grimes impressions. Check out the David on TikTok. And I'll be back babbling and bullshit. But for now, we wish you well. Good night. Okay, we're free.